Hey everybody, tuning in to the live stream. We're trying to figure out a couple things. There were some updates about the YouTube channel. It looks like we are on YouTube again, but it's kind of confusing. It looks like we're on the YouTube. Okay, this goes against some notifications that I'm looking at on our dashboard, but the @Team YouTube account on Twitter has been in contact with us. It looks like they're letting us through. So we'll see if that stays that way. There seems to be, of course, some misunderstandings from the robot moderators over at YouTube about what exactly is going on Canary Cry News Talk. Of course, some of the things we talk about triggers the robot moderators, but of course, as soon as a human gets involved, takes a look, sees what's going on, sees our true intent, looks like we may have gotten that appeal, but I'm not gonna be too positive until I know this happens. All right. So let's see here. I'm sending out the text message alert right now. All right. Somebody told us they like the pre-show jibber jabber where it's not quite me giving the spiel. We do a lot of things here in the back end during this opening segment. Gons, are you good? Oh, you're not going to be able to hear Gons. Okay, he's ready. All right, everybody. I think it's time to get this show started. Oh, thanks for being here. If you are on YouTube and you've been wondering where we have been for a week or so, that's on you, bro. You should be in part of the newsletter. You should get text message notifications. You should be paying attention, and you should have some alternative, accounts over at, I don't know, Rumble, Odyssey, DLive, all the other outlets that do not mistakenly ban us for things that we are not guilty of. But we're glad, for at least for a moment, we are back on YouTube, and we hope that you take this as an opportunity to go ahead, go on over to canarycry.party, pick out at least one other of our outlets, and follow us over there. Go do that. We are halfway through November, which means the deadline for signing up for the supply drop is fast approaching, and I highly suggest that you go sign up for it. It's going to be a doozy. You're going to get the Canary Cry calendar. You're going to get the first ever t-shirt for Canary Cry News Talk, at least official licensed t-shirt. And if you sign up before December 1st, you're going to get the Canary Cry Mixtape Volume 1 on cassette tape. That's right. When the bombs go off and the technocrats take control, and you, as an organo with no cybernetic enhancements, are left to fend for yourself in the wilderness, you won't be able to find a computer, an iPod. You're gonna need a cassette tape, and it's going to be chock-a-block full of some of the coolest Canary Cry songs made by our producers, and there's more to come. So if you're one of those people who likes to have a complete collection, you're going to want to get Volume 1, because Volume 2 is going to the printers, baby. All right, go to canarycrysupply.com, or just refer to your newsletter or your text message for links to that. All right, let's get this show started, Gons.
The world is getting crazier, People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is November 14th, 2022, and we are live to tape on episode 560. That's 560, and today, Image of Elon. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, who also happens to be your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live to tape from Newsom's, California, to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's immersion phenomena. Acceleration. Things are accelerating.
Acceleration. Oh, that sounds scary.
No, it's fine. We'll be okay.
Depending on... No, it's no big deal. Yeah, okay. So we got a great show for you folks today. If you are one of our subscribers on YouTube, you will notice that we are back in the game, baby. We do not know how long this will last. Yeah, we're back on the YouTube. We have a YouTube again. Been the update, been going back and forth a bit with @Team YouTube on Twitter. And
still don't know
this morning,
how they decided to respond to you, even though after years of trying to. Yeah. It's a new world, Gonz. They have a new, commitment to getting it right when it comes to moderation. Of course, we know 90% of their moderation is done by robots. And the robots, they don't know the difference between crazy conspiracy theorists, right-wing extremists, and people just reading the news. And we are the latter there. We just read the news and check it out. So we're back on YouTube for now. If anybody was missing us on YouTube, that's your sign. This is your signal from the heavens to go to canarycry.party. Find another outlet to follow us on, because you never know how long this will last. And with that, Gonz, you ready to get going? Should I give you a rundown? Run it down.
Oh, no, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
And with that, we are we are experimenting with a new disclaimer that should explain to any content moderators, censorship managers, robots, or humans, whoever you are, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We simply read the news, analyze and deconstruct popular narratives in an attempt to better understand the world we live in and to immunize ourselves from malicious psychological operations that seek to weaponize us against our best interests. A little wordy, Gonz. We might cut it down a little bit.
It does give away the plot a little bit at the end. I think we can maybe reel it in a little bit for the
Russia.
normie.
Excuse me, we are fighting against Russian psychological operations.
Yes, I meant the Russian bots. Yes,
the fight, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
So anyways, there you go, folks, and here's a rundown. We're starting off with some Elon. That's right. I know some people are tired of it, but it just keeps going. Don't worry, it's not about Twitter, because Elon has his own statue, his own GOAT statue. He's also taking, internet connectivity, electric cars, all these sort of things into the next phase of the technocratic revolution. And he won't stop there, because he's got a new high-tech Starlink-connected porta potty you got to know about coming to a music festival near you. Then we'll be checking in with Flippy. DARPA has a new Flippy robot who's going to save us all, probably get involved with maintaining some satellites. We got to check in with Flippy. Then we'll be tapping into the zeitgeist to what's China doing? What's China doing with drones? What's China doing with the Iron Beam?
We ran out of bed music because that whole little tag at the top took too long. So here we go.
You want some more bed music?
Yeah,
okay, I'll go faster.
Keep going.
Okay, then we'll be checking in with the FTX SBF destruction of the crypto markets, and what does that mean for the world economy and the future of the technocracy. Then some new reports in the mainstream news. NBC with a study on myocarditis after the COVID shot, research on possible long-term risks. Very interesting what the official scientific community has to say about this. Certainly nothing there that could get us suspended from YouTube because it's on NBC. Then we'll be reporting on the cruise ship. Another cruise ship has been hit with an unsuspected wave of COVID. We'll be checking in with the multi-faith leaders in Israel and the climate change COP27 extravaganza. And then, of course, Antarctica at the end of the show. A huge illusion is landing on a blue ice runway. But that's at the end of the show. We're at the top of the show. Gons, let's start with our lead stories.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected. Where are the aliens? Maybe they're among us. I don't know.
Where are they?
I don't know, Elon.
Well, we do know where there's a giant statue of Elon, because according to Indy100.com, the headline here, Elon Musk fans have created a $600,000 GOAT monument, that's greatest of all time, dedicated to their hero, Basil.
$600,000, huh?
Sounds
Sounds like they came $66,000 under budget.
Yeah. Well, when you first started looking at Elon and you were very excited about the guy, I remember.
Well, in an analysis and technocratic deconstruction sort of way, sure, he's a PR phenomenon.
Yeah. Well, could you have imagined that somebody would drop over $500,000 for a monument for him in such short years?
You know, honestly, it doesn't surprise me. I think it was just a matter of time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it says here that diehard Elon Musk fans have created a 30-foot-long monument. Yeah, so close. Dedicated to their hero, and it cost them over £500,000, $600,000. The unique piece sees the richest man in the world's head attached to a goat's body while riding a rocket. It's the brainchild of cryptocurrency firm Elon GOAT Token, who later this month plans to present it to the billionaire at his Tesla workplace in Austin, Texas. EGT explained,
so this is a crypto-funded project.
Yeah, it's going well for the crypto world. EGT explained, quote, "Most people thought we would never do it, but after 1 year of building, the time has come to bring it home to Elon. Really, we just want to meet the guy and give it to him. After all, he's the most innovative human alive, hence the GOAT, greatest of all time." And would you like to describe what it did describe it, but just in your own words, what the actual statue?
I will say this: it is more impressive than any Trump statue that has ever been
much
created.
Larger than
Trump had his gold statue.
Yeah, it was a little one.
I think it was the RNC or something a couple years ago. But this is a gigantic statue, the base of which is the Starship. I think it's called Starship, the gigantic SpaceX rocket. And straddling the rocket as it is sort of pointed to the sky is a strange figure. They're telling me this is a goat figure, some sort of four-legged animal.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Clutching onto the sides of this rocket. Yeah.
When you were a kid, did you ever have these model dinosaurs or something that's got the bones?
Yeah, they're like cut out, like CNC machines, or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
where
they're like
cut
layers.
out the wood in slats, right? Like if you had a dinosaur skeleton kit as a kid, sometimes they're cardboard, sometimes they're wood, whatever. It's kind of built like that, and then atop of this goat's body is a gigantic fairly realistic recreation of Elon Musk's head, and the entire structure is completely silver and shiny.
The head alone is 5'9".
Something. Yes, 5'9" head. I wonder if that refers to Elon's like actual height or something. Yeah, he seems like he would be 5'9". He seems like a 5'9" type of guy.
Taller than that, but maybe. I don't know.
$600,000. He seems taller, Guns, because of how legendary and how much space he takes up in our media might have you thinking that he's taller than 5'9". But I think that's a believable height. Anyways, it is an absolutely ludicrous creation.
It's the opulence.
It's opulent. It makes sense, though. They pretty much outright said, we built this statue because we thought maybe it could get us to meet Elon.
This is a great marketing
if
project.
You're looking for a way to meet somebody, make a gigantic, ridiculous statue of them, and there's a pretty good chance that they're actually going to get to meet Elon because of this.
Especially if you're a billionaire, you need attention, and what better way?
The peasants need to do something pretty impressive to get your
attention. You heard that, producers and listeners out there. You want to get our attention? You start building monuments.
Yeah, fortunately, it's way easier to get our attention.
A bad YouTube comment gets our attention.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so there you go. Elon, the statue, great echoes of the image of the beast. And the image
chimera. It's got like a chimeric technocrat vibe to it. Half man, half beast. Of course, the fact that it's a goat. And while it has the pop culture reference to greatest of all time, it's also, of course, got a Baphomet type of illusion to it.
Yep. I'm gonna skip that porta potty one. We'll get back to it because I think we're gonna get back to it. Just give me a second. Just let me set it up with this G20 thing because I think it just goes
to town, brother.
A better order. So this is France 24 headline: Musk sees aliens, tunnels, and a candlelit G20 vision of the future. Now you might think, okay, what's going on here? I have the clip, 22 seconds here of Elon. So this is the B20, which is the G20 of Indonesia type thing. And he's zooming in or Skyping in or something. And his face is lit up in this dark room, what looks like a just weird situation. And Elon addresses it right at the top of the exchange here.
I don't know what else to say, but it is. I'm just looking at this video and it's so bizarre.
Well, you look like you're in a dark place.
I'm sitting here in the dark, surrounded by candles.
I know.
It's so bizarre.
So bizarre.
That is so weird.
What ritual was he undergoing in the middle of this call? Also, he said that the power, the power ran out, or not ran out, but went out right before he made the call. So is he connecting through Starlink? I don't know, but it's just weird that he's like, I'm amidst these candles and I have called in to the G20 of Indonesia to say my piece.
Pretty strange.
It's weird.
For his Zoom call to a geopolitical summit. He's lit by candlelight and yet still I mean, look, my internet is on a backup battery, so of course out here off grid, my power could go out at any moment. But I do have my internet on a battery system, and my computer is on a backup battery, so it is possible. But still, very strange. Very strange.
And then briefly, he did talk about something else.
What future do you want? Like what is the good future?
Also, the echo from the room and everything makes it pretty much exactly like those dystopian movies where they have that, the villain leader, whatever, standing up there, and then they got the echo of the giant auditorium where he's speaking.
Right.
I mean, I think one where civilization is growing and the significant scale of consciousness are growing along with it is a great future. Obviously one where we transition to sustainable energy, because the counterpoint is unsustainable energy. The faster we can transition to a sustainable energy economy, the better. furthering human knowledge so we can understand the nature of the universe and our place in it and how we got here and I don't know, the meaning of life. And as I said earlier, going and exploring other star systems, and maybe we'll find, alien civilizations or discover alien civilizations that existed millions of years ago may no longer exist, but we see the ruins of ancient civilizations. I think that would be incredibly interesting, just to, go out there and explore the galaxy.
There you go. Huh. He wants. Yeah. He thinks that we're going to discover ancient alien civilizations, which, interestingly enough, is NASA's newest argument for why we're not seeing aliens. There was an article on that recently that they're saying, oh yeah, well, obviously, they advance and then they wipe themselves out, which is an old theory, right? But interesting that he would bring that up. So keep that in mind.
I think Graham Hancock just had a Netflix show come out too, Ancient Apocalypse, kind of talking about the same thing.
Right. And I think this is all going to be the Genesis 6 biblical thing becoming more like tangible and real, and being framed as ancient alien civilization, things like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we're at a place where more people believe that aliens exist than don't. For a guy as sort of revered as Elon, getting invited to talk at these geopolitical, conferences and things like that, you'd think he would have sort of a written spiel down a little bit the top of his head, like he maybe forgot that he had this Zoom call to a bunch of world leaders.
Well, to be fair,
the Zoom just starts ringing, and he's just in the middle of his candlelit ritual, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just, I know what they want to hear. Aliens, we're gonna go to the stars."
To be fair, I did watch the whole thing. It was like a 22-minute thing. He's wearing the shirt that was sent, like some green shirt, so he knows he's on there. And then also, it was sort of a left field question, and it was open ended. Hey, if you can bring
planned,
I don't think it was a planned question, because the guy is like, hey, just the last. It's at the very end of the thing, a real quick, broad question kind of thing. So it was a little bit more general.
Kind of like you've done your job. You've said the technocratic just globalist thing or whatever that we wanted you to say. But what we really want to hear? We want to hear you talk about aliens, Elon. Come on, give it to us.
But here's the reality. Just bringing it back down here. The guy who is who's in the devil costume or Antichrist costume, technocratic grandfather, who's part of Technocracy Inc. in the 1930s, who warned us, Elon, remember he warned us that AIs would be demons, but also he wants to connect our brains to computers with Neuralink. He wants us to participate in this payment system. This whole Twitter thing is just a move for the payment system using his
digital identity.
X.com, which Freeman Fly for years has been talking about how some Satanists believe the X is the mark of the beast. He also digs tunnels, which maybe, to discover some ancient civilizations or something.
Digs tunnels.
Yep. He launches satellites for, connectivity all over the world. He wants his hand in space travel. He's got electric cars bearing the name of the guy who rediscovered the free form of energy, Tesla, who are also making robots. And the cherry on top, the reason why we know that this whole thing is a psyop.
We'll control them with toileting. Again, a topic that we immediately identified as one of the most important tools to, the whole thing moving into the technocratic future. We were scoffed at, we were laughed at, and here we are. Probably the most important update, the most world-changing sneak attack by Elon.
RVtravel.com, and the headline is. This is your kind of rag, huh? High-tech Starlink-connected porta potty, in quotes, is a time machine for outhouses of the future. It's a time machine. That's
it's a time machine. Porta potty time machine, baby. Come on, Elon. Let's go, bro.
There's usually not much to enjoy in a porta potty, but Jupe, Jupe, is working to change that with new high-tech portable toilets. They're taking these space-age potties to a whole new level, the next generation in high-tech glamping. Forget carrying a newspaper into this John while you do your business. These futuristic portable toilets are Starlink Wi-Fi compatible. They may just be the portable potty of the future.
Yeah.
There's a metallic wrap exterior. The image that they have here, this is the most sleekest, futuristic toilet that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Very slick. If anybody knows, if you can imagine the sort of apocalypse seed bank in Norway, big concrete building, that's supposed to have all the genetics to restart the earth if they need to. That's what this toilet looks like. It's like a little porta potty. It's very structurally seems very futuristic. It's metallic. It's a beautiful machine here. It's got a skylight so you can look at the stars while you're hooked into the Starlink Wi-Fi.
That's for the government birds to come spy on you. The big old opening at the top.
I'm predicting there will be one of these at Burning Man in the next few years.
One. They're going to need like 100 of them.
I know. I think, no, they need about 10,000 of them. There's 10,000 porta potties, I believe is the official number, at Burning Man. But I think that's a bit of a big investment. I mean, he would have to donate them to Burning Man. But I could see that being the best testing ground for this exact product.
What would be very popular, especially in this climate of viruses and stuff, is if there's a sanitation device, between every use, you hit a button, it just it's like Andromeda strain,
Yeah,
sanitize the whole thing.
Fire just blasts out of the walls and
a laser beam that just kills all the germs. Yeah.
I
think that's
I could see that.
So anyway, there you go.
I mean, he's for a guy who's famous, for getting his tentacles into all sorts of diverse industries. The porta potty industry was just waiting for him.
Yeah, I know. It's the last bastion of privacy being infiltrated by Mr. Devil Suit Man.
That's right. Don't check the box for the user license agreement on the Wi-Fi toilet.
How are Republicans and a lot of Republicans and conservatives who are really cheering for Elon? How did they respond to the whole devil suit thing? They're like, "Hey, it's our conservative champion."
It was mostly ignored. As far as I could see, it was mostly ignored. I didn't really. Nothing came across my desk of conservative Republican politicians mentioning it. And with that, Gons, it is Monday, and it's time for us to celebrate.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
That's right. It's Monday, starting off another week, Gons, and man, it's a good one. Looking forward to this one. We had a tough couple weeks with all the nonsense going on behind the scenes around here, but I think getting our YouTube channel back on the first day of the week portends for a good experience. Who knows? They could pull the rug out from under us at any moment, but
don't rug us again, Susan.
Don't rug us, Susan. Remember the disclaimer. Anywho, so there you go. Just any notable events for your weekend?
Yeah, I had a chat with the current what's the word I'm looking for? I guess FBI guy at church. Remember the FBI guy?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Your FBI handler.
Yeah. Yeah. Had a conversation with him. Asked him about surveillance. The average FBI agent. What it takes for them to just like surveil on some citizen, and he claimed that for just your average kind of FBI person, they have to get through a lot of bureaucracy, some red tape, in order to be able to have access to some like a phone or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and he actually brought up Hurricane. Remember Hurricane, the Russiagate stuff?
Crossfire Hurricane. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He brought it up and he said that was absurd. He's like, if I walked into my boss with that set of evidence and said, hey, let's escalate this up, they would laugh me out of the room. It was just ridiculous. And he was very upset about the whole thing. He was like, yeah, these few people doing this ridiculous thing and it's causing us to, have to do damage control. Because I think he's getting it from all his friends and family is what it kind of sounded like. Was, what's going on with the FBI there, buddy? Kind of thing. So, and the other thing that was interesting is I was asking him about raids and stuff like that. I guess he was telling me that more recently they started using robots that go in during any kind of raid or any kind of situation to secure the area, and how the sophistication of operating those robots has come a long way. And they would have implemented drones for any kind of raid process much earlier. But he was saying, the bureaucracy, you got to get this license and that license. And then, within 6 months, it's all obsolete because you got the next drone that's coming, so it's this, it was interesting to hear the frustrating, obstacles of the FBI agent.
Poor guy.
But he's a good dude. Goodness. And, I'll just keep, prodding for different things. So there you go. He's my FBI handler from church.
Okay, good. Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of similar, throwbacks, is I got back on the skates.
Oh,
back in the rink, baby.
You need to warn me so I can play jingles. I know.
I forgot to tell you. I'll give you a second to look for it here. But yes, after a long hiatus, I have infiltrated once again the Church of Skaten.
Yeah, no, sorry.
That would have been good timing.
It would have been. It just was the wrong one.
Would have been excellent timing. Yes, got back on the blades. I took it easy. Didn't try any new tricks or anything. I felt kind of again back like a baby deer, like a baby deer on rollerblades. So I was taking it easy, but it felt good. Noticeably smaller crowd nowadays.
Really?
Smaller crowd.
You'd think in the winter.
I think, that's a good point. I think what it was, last time I was going, it was much earlier in 2022. The world was just starting to get back to normal. People were I think it's a little bit less of a respite from the lockdown madness that people were using it as, or I don't know, something like that. I don't know, but did good, feeling good. It looks like it was the percentage of other skaters. It was mostly the skate daddies and the skate mommies. So a lot of the alpha boys weren't there. I don't know what's going on, but
they lost all their money in the FTX crash. They're not able to come hang out.
Crypto bros can't afford to go skating anymore.
Howdy, partner. Do you even skate?
Yeah, I did. Oh, the skating cowboy was there though.
Oh, so, good.
That was yeah. So let me know, Canarians, if you're back on the rink. Keep me posted if something's changed in your area as well. Well, with that, Gons, I think it's time that we thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, means we take no corporate money whatsoever. Why should you care? Well, because corporate money is the reason we're all in this mess in the first place. We have no corporate incentive to change the messaging or the narrative of anything on this show. We are completely free from the corporate global theology of advertising, affiliate codes, all that nonsense. We are entirely supported by listeners like you. And when you support the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure, you are a producer, a real deal producer. That's not just a gimmick or a cute name. You're a producer. And the executive producers are those who come in with their generosity and their commitment to keeping this show going, even when no one else will, Gons. And thank God, at the last second, we had an executive producer come in for today.
Nice.
Yeah, so you ready to thank them?
I am so ready.
Okay, it's executive producer M and Bobby.
M and Bobby. Thank you.
M and Bobby, yes, as we're combining them into one executive producing force. And they M and Bobby comes in with $111. Thank you very much. And a note that says, we produce the show for $111 in honor of our 11 years of marriage on 11/11. Wow.
There you go.
That's impressive. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Em and Bobby go on. We love you guys and are blessed to have such a great community to strengthen our marriage and walk with the Lord with. Love yous, Em and Bobby. Wow. How special is that? Yeah.
I didn't know we were marriage counselors too.
Seems Canary Cry News Talk. It's good for your marriage. The family that canaries together stays together.
Yeah.
Stay-naries together.
Need to run that by the wife before I can put my stamp of approval on it.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and put my stamp of approval on it. Thank you, executive producer Em and Bobby.
Where'd you find this?
And at this moment, that is our only executive producer for this episode. It would be sad if they didn't come in, but there's still time, folks. If you want to produce the show, you can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. And I do have a quick update about, well, I have a message to deliver about the Canary Cry supply drop.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's fun. Good times.
Supply drop.
You know it. You love it, folks. It's the Canary Cry supply drop. It is we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the supply drop, which is our program where if you commit to supporting the show for $33.33 per month. That is just $2.77 per episode. Pretty good deal. If you produce the show in $33.33 a month, you are put on a list to receive custom created, artist designed, producer produced, made in America Canary Cry News Talk gear. And you get that 4 times a year, once per quarter. And thank you for those who are signing up. If you sign up now, before December 1st, not only for next month will you receive the Canary Cry calendar, which is the most treasured Canary Cry item. You'll also get the very first Canary Cry News Talk t-shirt, premium t-shirt made in America. But you'll also get, as a bonus for signing up, you'll get the Canary Cry mixtape, Volume 1, on cassette tape. You know, you got to have it on cassette tape because when the world falls apart and the technocrats don't let you, get an iPod without signing up for the one world payment system, biometric identity, you're going to need a cassette tape. Which is the first in a collection of the Canary Cry Volume 1 mixtape. It's a collection of the Canary Cry mixtape cassettes, and this is the first one. So if you're a collector, there's still time to get in at the top or the bottom, however you think of it. But I do have a message from Isaac, our Canary Cry supply drop main man. He's the point man, the main man, the point man, the right hand with the frying pan. He sent out emails to everybody who signed up. If you have not responded to that email with your t-shirt size, very soon you will just receive an extra large. So if you want to get the t-shirt in your size, search your email. You might have to search your spam folder or whatever. Look for a email from canarycrysupply@gmail.com and answer the survey. Get back to them. We want to make sure everybody gets the size of t-shirt that they deserve for the body that they have. Okay, there you go. I think that's it. I think we're ready to...
Ready, Flip?
Flippy update, baby.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Time for the Flippy update. If you're new to the show, let me learn you something. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing that we can do about it. Today, Gons, the Flippy update is coming from SpaceNews.com, which should immediately tell everybody exactly what's about to happen, but maybe you're new. So the headline is DARPA's robot could start servicing satellites in 2025. It could, Gons. We've talked about Flippies in space. Of course, we're keeping track. We might be the only place on the planet, in the realm, that specifically is keeping track of all the robotic arms in space. We know Canadarm2. We know Canadarm1. We know the Russian one. I forget the name. It's all very important for the future of space travel and robotic arms. Today, DARPA is announcing a big one. The platform for DARPA's RSGS payload is Space Logistics' Mission Robotic Vehicle, a robotic arm developed by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, has completed key tests and is on track to be integrated with the Northrop Grumman spacecraft next year and launched into geosynchronous Earth orbit in 2024, the agency said November 8th. Quote, the program anticipates on-orbit satellite servicing activities will begin in 2025, DARPA said in a news release. Meeting that goal would mark a major victory for DARPA's robotics servicing of geosynchronous satellites, RSGSG, a program the agency started in 2017, building on a decade of research and lessons from a 2007 experiment. And they do hyperlink to this 2007 experiment, which is a
Orbital
Wikipedia
Express.
Wikipedia entry for Orbital Express. Orbital Express was a space mission managed by the United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency and a team led by engineers at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. The Orbital Express program was aimed at developing, quote, a safe and cost-effective approach to autonomously service satellites in orbit. Robots, Flippy in space, baby. DARPA wanted to take advantage of emerging commercial space technology to be able to inspect and repair aging satellites in GEO. Quote, currently, no options exist for visual diagnosis, upgrades, or repairs of malfunctioning satellites components, the agency said. The plan was to team up with commercial satellite provider that would build the spacecraft to carry the payload. DARPA 2017 selected SSL as its commercial partner. But in 2019, SSL's parent company, Maxar Technologies, bowed out of the partnership for financial reasons. They couldn't keep up, Gons. They couldn't keep up with old DARPA, old black budget, unlimited taxpayer funding DARPA. DARPA solicited new bids and in 2020 selected Northrop Grumman's subsidiary Space Logistics as its partner. The platform for the RSGS payload is Space Logistics' Mission Robotic Vehicle, a 3,000-kilogram spacecraft. DARPA completed testing of robotic payload elements, not the entire spacecraft. Okay? So don't get it twisted. The robotic arm, is DARPA's. The spacecraft, not their responsibility. Then it kind of goes into some other details. But this goes into the class of Flippies in space, who are working their way into the system to replace human astronauts. It's also wrapped up in a bit of an eco-warrior thing, because as we know, as bad as littering is here on Earth, Gons, that space junk poses a grave threat to the sort of infrastructure that keeps everything, alive on Earth. All of our internet, our geopositioning, our telecommunications, all relying on commercial spacecraft now. And what do we do? What do we even do when those satellites start falling apart? Well, no longer do you need a human astronaut to go repair these satellites, baby, because Flippy is here to save the day. We got to put this one on the list. We've been talking about the heretofore ignored robot arm wrestling championships, and DARPA, I think DARPA's got some tricks up their sleeve.
I'm going to go out on a limb, a real real thin limb. And just to go ahead and suggest that perhaps this is they're bringing the robot arms up there. We're going to have some kind of mysterious collision with a foreign object, and people will speculate, was it a Russian satellite? Was it a alien craft? But it will be the Black Knight satellite that has been roaming allegedly up there for years. Yes. And it will overtake the robot arms and resurrect itself. And yes.
Wow. That's quite the theory. Quite the theory.
Yeah.
Well, we reported on China's Flippy arm, who is specifically
they're clearing the space, literally.
Yeah, it was, again, done in this space junk, in the name of eco-space warrior ship, where they can have their 4-armed Flippy robot latch on to old satellites and kind of toss them down, plummeting into Earth, where allegedly they'll burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But DARPA's taken a new approach. Why trash old satellites when you can actually repair them? Wow, isn't it nice that our secret, black budget defense space program is so concerned with reusing and recycling instead of just tossing last year's model of satellite down into the incinerator?
Well, the supply chains have all been disrupted, Basil. We need to conserve the technology we've already built.
That's a good point. Hopefully there's some, self-defense protocols. Knowing DARPA, of course there is.
Of course.
So the space arm wrestling championships are still on, folks. Don't you worry.
Self-destruct.
There's your Flippy update for the day.
There you go. All right, we're going to move right along here and talk about China.
Welcome to Chinese news. It comes from China. Ding, ding, China. Ding, ding, China.
Chinese news! Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
Where's my laser? There it is. All right. Eurasian Times. That's right. Eurasian Times. That's right. Headline here. China.
You are Asian?
So that's what it says. China develops its own Iron Beam, unveils sophisticated drone killer system at Zhuhai Air Show.
Goodness gracious. Oh. Iron Beam. We've got Iron Dome, and now we've got Iron Beam.
Iron Beam. The UAV killer weapon can launch effective strikes on low, slow, and small LSS targets, which fly below 1 kilometer in altitude at speeds of around 200 kilometers per hour and have a radar cross-section smaller than 1 square meter. The state-owned tabloid Global Times reported that the LW-30 laser defense weapon was unveiled by the China Space Sanjiang Group, a subsidiary of China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, CASIC. The unveiling comes at a time when combat UAVs heavily dominate modern battlefields. The LW-30 has light speed engagement, silent attack, continuous operation, flexibility and accuracy, and a high cost-effective ratio. When a high-energy laser is focused on a single point and the energy reaches a certain level, the targeted weapon can directly burn through the UAV's control panel. And they have Zhang Mei Fang, is a official Chinese government Twitter lady here, posted a tweet. China displayed the LW-30 laser at the air show, and it's a 30-second video. It's more visual for the people just listening. It's just going to be very dramatic sounding. I just want to play it because, this is part of the propaganda of China. So Here we go. Yeah. Whoa. Tanks, missiles, fast cut.
Sweet.
Sleek missiles, explosions. And now the sea defense, anti-drone defense. There's the laser. Break us.
Man.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We've always, yes, their sort of military propaganda videos are always so exciting. Them and North Korea.
Korea, I was gonna say, but given the fact that China, remember we heard China's focusing more on like testosterone, like masculinity in their military and stuff like that. This goes right along with that. This is exactly that vibe where it's like, yeah, we got the rakest lasers, shoot down those bad drones.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It's pretty intense, man. It's for those who are fans of, reality television.
Right.
Like Ice Road Truckers or
Church of Skating Times.
Gold Diggers or whatever. You're very familiar with the strategies of making something incredibly boring just outrageously exciting with editing, quick cuts, intense music. The most mundane thing could be happening. But, it's really an art to making it exciting. And they did a great job. Good job, China.
Yeah, nice work. So there you go. They got their laser, their anti-drone laser. And we don't have to get into the details, but
you get it.
It's interesting to see.
Don't even try to drone us.
Well, it's just interesting to see the military-industrial complex of China, moving forward with technology and knowledge probably gained from the West, obviously, with these sort of laser devices.
And media production.
Yes.
In the style. It's a very Western style media production, too.
Right.
I think that this was actually made for people in the West.
Well, listen to this. This contrasts with Israel's Iron Beam, which costs just a little more than China's LW-30. On Twitter, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said, Israel has successfully tested the new Iron Beam laser interception system. This is the world's first energy-based weapon system that uses a laser to shoot down incoming UAVs, rockets, and mortars for $3.50 per shot. Well, I love that. There's a dollar amount per laser.
Gotta have the price per laser.
The Chinese LW-30 can conduct multiple vehicle network attacks and standalone combat with a single vehicle. It can also be employed with conventional weapons like close-range artillery and air defense missiles and integrated into conventional air defense weapon systems. We are superior to Western versions of any of this stuff.
Indeed.
It just sounds like they shoved more onto a car. It was what it sounds like. There's more than one of these lasers. Anyway, there you go. That's your Chinese laser defense system.
Laser update.
Yeah, Chinese lasers.
Okay, wonderful.
You got something else?
Pretty tech heavy here up at the top of the show, huh?
Oh, the world is becoming very technocratic.
We got a lot of techno updates here at the top of the show. Let me see what we got here. Along the same lines, China. We've talked about CERN, the particle accelerator over in Geneva for a decade now.
Yeah.
Well, again, the Chinese cannot let the West dominate the particle collision industry any longer. This is coming from the star.com headline. Chinese particle collider takes scientists one step closer to figuring out the world. Dun, dun, dun. We will figure out the world.
I love that headline.
I know, it's very good. Scientists will be able to better understand how quarks, the tiny building blocks of matter, bind together to form the world around us, thanks to never-before-seen particles spotted by a detector in China. Never before seen.
Never before seen. See, this
brand new one.
This is a point of contention here, because never has there been less trust of China, for one, out here in the West, at least in America. Yeah. And secondly, in the context of science. Has there ever been such little?
Disappointed. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't put together a cool, super intense promotional video.
Oh, they got to open the portal first, and then when Xi's Watcher God decides to reveal himself, then it'll be a lot more dramatic. They're waiting for the good footage.
So the long story short on this one is that they're talking about quarks, they're talking about China found the first blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We hear this stuff every once in a while. It's good to remember that CERN is not the only Large Hadron Collider. Well, I don't know if this is technically a Large Hadron Collider. It's a particle accelerator. Yeah, it's a particle collider. Same thing. But Gons, more notably, I want you to scroll down about halfway down. You'll see a headline for another article called "Building a Higgs Boson Factory." Can we follow that link real quick?
Okay.
Because for those who now this one it is a paid article, but you can get a little bit of it. Let me know if you get the paywall.
Yeah,
the headline is "Building a Higgs Boson Factory: China's Race to the Frontier of Physics." And then it kind of goes on to the Higgs boson. Those who have been following this kind of stuff for a while know the Higgs boson is colloquially named or known as the God particle.
Right.
And China is sort of pursuing this structure, this process of being able to detect and perhaps even on command summon these Higgs bosons from their particle collisions, which is not something that is very easy to do. Look, I'm no professional, but to on command summon the God particle could mean quite a bit when it comes to your geopolitical standing and your power to manipulate reality around the will of your, well, in this case, communist government, which is very exciting.
I wonder what the progress. Well, I guess the progress we just heard of it, but this article is from March of 2019, so this is even before the pandemic.
The point is, Gons, that they're on it, okay?
they're on it. They got lasers.
Yes. In this world
now,
where, supply chains are changing, the U.S. is attempting to reduce its reliance on China for products. If China can create a God particle supply chain, they might be, forget semiconductors, they might be able to lock in the global industry for God particle reality bending, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it does seem to be a race to figure out some kind of quantum mechanical control or something. Where they got they can control everything to the photon or even smaller, and they can really determine how to change a state and things like that.
Of course, the punchline to all this is all of this technology, you can almost guarantee they just directly stole from, sending their citizens overseas for education and for employment. And then, as we've seen happen over the past couple months, where Chinese agents are being sort of tracked down and caught by our own intelligence infrastructure, they've been sort of harassing, threatening, and forcing these Chinese people of Chinese, descent or former nationality to bring what they know back to the homeland so that they can continue building the sort of eternal dynasty.
We just borrow knowledge. We just make it better. That's all they're saying.
Yeah, of course. So there you go. So if you are one of these individuals who is suspicious of Large Hadron Colliders, maybe their effect on the time-space continuum, maybe you're into the Mandela effect thing, just know that it's not just CERN that's in the game, baby.
That's
China
probably, I wonder if that was the real thing that caused Xi to move in this direction. He's like, oh, Mandela effect? You change reality,
Yeah. Why would you bother?
Why we don't have one?
To, sort of infiltrate the scientific establishments around the world when you could just create a Large Hadron Collider and change reality at will.
Yeah. There you go.
It kind of reminds me of. Did you ever watch Man in the High Tower?
I saw a few episodes. Yeah.
It was really boring at the beginning. I did actually finally finish it. But yeah, you could do like a Man in the High Tower, only with the CCP instead of the Nazis.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all one big announcement.
All right.
Okay.
There's some Chinese updates for
all
you.
All right. Well, I'm going to bore you, Basil, but it's important.
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
Blockchain.
You know, Basil, back in, I think, June-ish, we started to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yes,
and, you know,
early on.
We weren't making any allegations or anything like that, and there were other people deeper into the crypto world that were calling a lot of people out, including Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. But things were suspicious back then, but man, the level of attention that this story has gotten the last week or so, and the amount of citizen journalism that is being dug up, only because it feeds right into the I don't know, the presupposed narratives of a sort of alt movement. I don't want to use
alt finance or
no. I'm talking about like the alt anti-Great Reset. Maybe some would describe with the letter Q type of stuff. So it's just interesting how the facts are blurry when it comes to those issues. But I want to bring this series of articles and links and stuff and just go through these as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of, you know, stuff being discovered and uncovered about Sam Bankman-Fried and his connections to all kinds of stuff. And the level of mainstreaminess attention that this is getting is honestly, I find pretty suspicious, considering that it was such a not underground, but you know, it's just a aspect of the crypto world that a normal mainstream news outlet would formerly not give 1 second of airtime to. Right. Well, in hindsight, it did seem like we were really on the cusp of some kind of crypto monopoly in the United States ran by Sam Bankman-Fried. And this whole teardown might have stopped it. I'm not going to say it did. Maybe it's part of the or at least slowed it down, or maybe it's part of the whole psyop of tearing it down to build it back up the way they want to. But just to be official here, CNBC did carry this article: Sam Bankman-Fried's Alameda quietly used FTX customer funds for trading, say sources. Now, one of the sources of, I think, this article, maybe there's another one from NBC or CNBC, was BitBoy Crypto. He came out and said, I'm one of the sources. So there you go. Just keep that in mind.
For those who don't know, BitBoy Crypto is kind of one of these.
He's a crypto influencer YouTube channel, probably one of the bigger, or maybe the second biggest YouTube channel, crypto YouTube channel. About 1.4 million.
Big deal in the space.
Yeah. So I'm not going to read everything here because it's sort of, I think the information is, the details of what he was doing is less important, but basically the Alameda Research, the fund started by Bankman-Fried, who borrowed billions in customer funds from its founders' exchange, FTX, according to a source familiar with company operations, who asked not to be named because the details were confidential. So there's a different source here. But basically, yep. To credit CNBC, here's what they say. None of this was disclosed to customers to CNBC's knowledge. In general, mixing customer funds with counterparties and trading them without explicit consent, according to U.S. securities law, is illegal. It also violates FTX's terms of service, which is less important. Sam Bankman-Fried declined to comment on allegations of misappropriating customer funds, but did say in its recent bankruptcy filing was a result of issues with a leveraged trading position. So,
and this is similar to what the problem was with what's the other one? Celsius. Weren't they doing
Voyager,
similar?
Yeah, BlockFi was tied into FTX. There's a whole bunch. So FTX had 134 subsidiary companies, and they all filed for bankruptcy. So this is really ugly. Along with other hedge funds and groups that had, they were using FTX kind of like a bank. So yeah, they're all done too. So we'll continue to see what they call the contagion effect.
And had some connections with Ukraine too, didn't it?
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Let me just blast through this. So as the week unfolded and the bankruptcy came out and The Verge had this story. FTX says unauthorized transactions drained millions from the exchange. The bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange moved users as funds to cold storage after at least $473 million went missing from the platform. Basil, we just filed for bankruptcy. I don't know what's happening. The customer funds, we're getting hacked. We're getting hacked by somebody's hacking us.
Oh no.
Unbelievable. You could not write this in a movie. But if you wrote that in a movie, they'd be like, yeah, it's a little too obvious. A hack happening and $500 million being drained all of a sudden after, the bankruptcy filing. And it's come out now that FTX had some kind of backdoor where they could, without alerting the authorities, which is what the CNBC article says here later on, without alerting the authorities, they can basically, take money out to Alameda Research and not change the books. It's a very illegal situation for Sam Bankman-Fried. So there you go. I'm sure this hack was Sam Bankman-Fried. And so the quote here, quote, FTX has been hacked. All funds seem to be gone. An admin on FTX official Telegram channel writes, while also instructing users.
All funds seem to be gone. That is not a great thing to hear from your crypto exchange.
No. While also instructing users to delete FTX's apps and warning against going on the platform's website due to the presence of malware. Isn't that convenient too? Mm-hmm. Shut it down, delete the app, just get rid of it. No trace, no nothing. It's just gone.
Wow.
Okay, so very interesting. So there's a Washington Free Beacon article here. Beleaguered crypto billionaire was hobnobbing at White House just 6 months ago. And it just outlines him in Washington, D.C., really rubbing shoulders with people.
He's like the chosen one. He's having meetings with who? Schumer.
He was meeting with Chuck Schumer. Met April 22nd and May 12th. He met with top Biden advisor Steve Ricchetti. And yeah, he was also hanging out with Gary Gensler of the SEC. We'll get to that in a second. So there you go. So he's been kind of in the world of regulation and governments and also, you think about companies that are too big to fail. Why are they too big to fail? We hear about this all the time, right? Banks that are too big to fail, or big pharma companies that are too big to fail. Well, they're too big to fail because if they fail, it would tear down so many different institutions and organizations because they're all sort of weaved in together, and so that's what FTX was trying to do by creating all these partnerships as fast as they could so they can become too big to fail. But before they can do that, obviously it all went down. But this unusual Wales article here, Ukraine government partnered with FTX for crypto to fiat donations. The Ukrainian government launched a new crypto donation website on March 14th, streamlining its multi-million-dollar effort to turn Bitcoin into bullets, bandages, and other war material. Aid for Ukraine, which has the backing of crypto exchange FTX, this is the quote, staking platform Everstake and Ukraine's Kuna exchange, will route donated crypto to the National Bank of Ukraine. Everstake's head of growth, Vlad Likuta, told CoinDesk. Ukraine's crypto-savvy Ministry of Digital Transformation is also involved. You have the Ukrainian government way too involved with FTX.
Right.
Why? If not for money laundering, what in the world is a crypto exchange that's not even fully regulated doing, partnering with the government of Ukraine? That does not happen by accident.
And partnering is one thing, but also getting in between
the people
Ukraine,
and
which like the sending of donations and the money part about the war in Ukraine is like the weirdest part, most contentious part, and to get directly in the middle of it is just a very strange place for them to be.
Very suspicious. Now, Reuters, and so there was rumors about him going to Argentina and stuff like that. I love this because Reuters here has FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried says he's in the Bahamas. And this is the shortest article I think I've ever seen Reuters write. It's literally 2 sentences. It says FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried told Reuters on Saturday that he was in the Bahamas, denying speculation on Twitter that he had flown to South America after the exchange filed for bankruptcy and he was removed as chief executive. When asked by Reuters whether he had flown to Argentina, Bankman-Fried responded in a text message. Nope. He told Reuters he was in the Bahamas.
Nope.
Thanks, Reuters.
Okay.
You get a direct line to SBF, and he texts you back, nope. Do you believe SBF?
Funny. I don't believe anybody anymore.
I just think that's hilarious how Reuters is like, oh, we got his text. No, we can reach him. It's just a bizarre flex.
Nice
Reuters.
source, great source, Reuters.
Yeah, very interesting. Now there is a lot of citizen journalism and citizen research and things of that nature taking place, and the rabbit trail just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Gabe Bankman-Fried, brother to Sam Bankman-Fried, is also he's a Wall Street trader. He's the founder of something called Guarding Against Pandemics. Now,
oh, good. Yeah. Definitely want to get the pandemic in on this.
Now, I went to Guarding Against Pandemics website, the About section. It's gone, but the internet saves everything. There is a archived version. Gabe Bankman-Fried is the founder and director of Guarding Against Pandemics. Prior to that, he was a staffer on Capitol Hill and worked for Civis Analytics, where he improved private house forecasting and resource allocation models that advised Democratic political action committees and large donors, giving hundreds of $millions in the 2018 midterm elections. Oh, so there's some history there. So there you go. There's Gabe Bankman-Fried. Now back to this little tweet here, because also he was a legislative correspondent for the U.S. House of Representatives and an advisor to large political donors. That's the brother there. Family aunt Linda Fried is a WEF member on the Global Agenda Council on Aging. Aha. And here we have
a new one.
Linda.
Is this something we knew, or is this
I don't think all these dots were connected before, but people are connecting the dots now. It's all public. Yeah. It's not really that difficult. This is the World Economic Forum website, Linda P. Fried. It's got her whole bio here. The one that jumped out at me, she's the co-chair, Global Future Council on the Future of Human Enhancement.
Okay.
Hello.
So the technocratic, transhuman,
council.
Council, yeah. Huh.
She's the co-chair, so very involved. And what's the university that keeps popping up on all these scammer people, Basil, recently?
A university with a bunch of scammer people?
Well, just ties to this university. Stanford University. So, of course, Joseph Bankman, the father, a leading scholar in the field of tax law. Joseph Bankman is an author of 2 widely used cassette books on case books. Got excited there. Case books on the subject. He's writing on tax policy, covers topics such as progressivity, consumption tax, and the role of tax in the structure of Silicon Valley startups. He is he's a professor of law.
So specific.
Professor of law and business at Stanford University, Stanford Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Law and Policy Project. And check this out. This is the part that jumped out at me because this is directly from the Stanford website. Professor Bankman is a clinical psychologist as well as a lawyer. He teaches mental health law and writes on the intersection of law and psychology. He has developed a course on anxiety psychoeducation that has been taught at Stanford and Yale law schools and written on how insights from social psychology might be used in the effort to reduce tax evasion.
Whoa.
Is your head exploding yet?
What an incredible family. That is so bizarre.
Man. He developed a course on anxiety psychoeducation and the insights on social psychology of how you can reduce tax evasion. And his own son is created maybe one of the biggest monetary scams since Bernie Madoff. It's unbelievable. It's quite remarkable.
It's really bizarre. It really is bizarre.
Right. Okay. So let me continue. Just a couple more things. Sorry, I'm trying to go as fast as I can here.
No, this is great.
And there's a couple more things. The FTX head of ventures and commercial at FTX Ventures, Amy Wu, started with the Clinton Foundation years ago. So there's that. The FTX director of engineering spent $8 million for Democratic candidates. Okay. And finally, Obama's commodity future trading commissioner, Mark Wetjen, was literally the head of FTX policy and regulation. So there's that. Okay. So a lot of Democrat-tied people there from the apparatus, right. The Clintons, the Obamas. It's your usual suspects.
This wasn't just some guy who made a crypto exchange. This guy was his whole family. He's in an elite family of World Economic Forum, Democrat institutionalists. Like it's like he was made for this.
Oh, he was totally made for it. The Clinton Global Initiative September 2022 meeting. If you go to the website, scroll all the way to the bottom, and where is he? Where'd he go? Did they get rid of him? They couldn't have. There he is, Sam Bankman-Fried, amongst all the other world leaders hanging out with the Clintons, I guess.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Let's see. There's a couple more things to go over here. One of the interesting data points that people popped up and shared. So there's something called the Fact Set, the ESG investing solution. We should maybe subscribe to this thing. It does cost money, but basically you can pull up any company and look at their ESG scores.
Oh yeah, gotta be able to do that.
Yeah. So FTX Trading had a leadership and governance score of 50, according with the ESG model here. Now, compared that to Exxon. Exxon's a pretty established institutional corporation. Yeah, Exxon only has a 38 when it comes to leadership and governance. So FTX given a better ESG score in leadership and governance than ExxonMobil.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with Exxon.
Yeah, I guess.
Is Shell on the list? Because Shell's really the leader in the oil industry.
Yeah,
with
well,
ESG.
Plus with their Bitcoin mining thing recently, I'm sure they'll jump ahead. But it's just it's just an interesting comparison that a exchange that started less than 2 years ago gets a better leadership and governance score than the apparatus that really has helped the whole military industrial complex exist for so long. Something like ExxonMobil.
Yeah.
Elon Musk got involved. He tweeted out a emoji. Wondering, what is it? The thinking emoji, and it's a little arrow sheet thing. It's got a picture of Sam Bankman-Fried, CFO or CEO of FTX, MIT graduate, and there's an arrow going both to and from Gary Gensler, head of SEC, former professor at MIT, who also has an arrow to and from Glenn Ellison, professor of economics at MIT, former boss of Gary Gensler, whose daughter, Caroline Ellison, is the CEO of Alameda, who dated Bankman-Fried and was part of the whole FTX thing. So she has an arrow back and forth to Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah,
it is
there's a lot of talk about that girl. She was the CEO of Alameda Research.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a clip of her. A lot of talk about all those, the whole gang there, sort of involved with one another.
Yeah, roommates.
Aside from being business colleagues or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah, some drugs involved, perhaps. Yeah, there's some interesting things going on. Not surprising in that kind of.
Also, kind of the least interesting part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and the clips of her are just, I'm not going to play them here, but she's talking about how we just basically, we think any kind of stop loss in trading, stop loss is basically a mechanism to help you from preventing losing money. She's like, we don't really think it's useful. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right. That's wonderful to hear the CEO of your investment research firm.
I do have a clip here. I'm not going to play it. Hester Pierce, the SEC commissioner, came out and said, we probably could have been a lot clearer on regulation, which is part of the issue here we've talked about. And then Bruce Fenton tweeted out, reminder, Bernie Madoff ran a $64 billion Ponzi scheme and was the largest fraudster in U.S. history. Madoff was also simultaneously chairman of the largest securities regulator in the U.S., the NASDAR, now known as FINRA. Madoff also sat on advisory committees at the SEC. So very, there's nothing new under the sun. It's very similar in sort of the apparatus, the people and the places where there's power and leverage doing the things that can be done when they're in those seats.
Well, it's interesting how all these connections, I mean, I got to assume that all these connections could have been sort of widely reported on before it was
before they were
disaster.
Doing Super Bowl commercials with Larry David.
Right.
Also, there was another person here that I think we might hear more about, or maybe not. I don't know. This is according to highstakesdb.com. Ultimate bet scandal lawyer Daniel Friedberg at center of FTX crypto crash. Do you know about the ultimate bet scandal, Basil? Have you heard about it?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't know much about it either, but apparently this is one of the biggest poker scams ever. And the lawyer that represented the scammers in that thing is the guy that was behind FTX, like one of the main guys on the council.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Okay,
Good.
so back to the links of the poker. FTX's former general counsel and current chief compliance officer is none other than Daniel Friedberg, who was involved in the Ultimate Bet scandal and subsequent cover-up. Friedberg was one of the Ultimate Bet lawyers present at a secretly recorded meeting in which Ultimate Bet boss Russ Hamilton admitted to cheating and stealing players' money. Some $50 million was robbed from other players in the super user scandal, with Hamilton having quote-unquote God mode access to everyone's hole cards. The audio recording, which surfaced in 2013, 5 years after the meeting, reveals Friedberg actively conspiring to lie about what had actually happened. And I did actually find an article from Poker Fuse from 2013. Audio tape confirms Ultimate Bet cheating details. And it does mention Daniel Friedberg in the article. So it is not some random thing. It's actually true. And this is the same guy who is behind the FTX, sort of the mastermind, the chief compliance officer, the guy who's in charge of compliance is this guy.
So you're in the space a little bit more than I am, the whole sort of crypto zone. Was this something that people saw coming? Were there people blowing the whistle on this beforehand?
Yeah. So
how is this able to get so far down the road?
A couple things. During a bull market, there's a lot of euphoria, and anything that is counter to the price of your assets going up, they don't want to hear it. They call it FUD. Oh, you're just spreading FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so it's very tough to get through in those situations. Now, this whole year has been, a crypto disaster. We've had the Terra Luna crash, which apparently I'm hearing more about how SBF was behind that too, which is not surprising. Basically, they had a hole in their budget or their balance sheet from customers, the customers' assets, and so they're like, well, how do we make our people whole? Well, let's just destroy these other companies. So that's basically what they did.
That was my question. So you had been doing a lot of good reporting on this, and I hadn't quite committed it all to memory. Was FTX involved or responsible in some way for things like the Celsius problem?
Yes, because
it was FTX seemed to be the ones sabotaging all these other companies and then coming in and buying them up, right?
They had the power of market making. So they were able to take any asset and crush it if they wanted to. And I think we're going to hear more stories. It did. We're going to hear more stories about different projects that have gotten caught up in this whole thing. It's really ugly. It's real ugly. But, there is another side to this, which is maybe this was all on purpose anyway, to bring in more regulation. And, because now they can say, well, hey, it didn't work. But the interesting twist with all of it is this guy was the number 2 donator to the Democratic Party this year. So this isn't some small guy that's some random crypto guy. This guy is like pretty much tied into the Democrat Party.
Well,
in a really big way.
It kind of fits in with the theory a lot of people have about Elon, where, with Elon and Twitter and everything, that, maybe the plan is to just destroy Twitter in a way.
Right.
And if you have FTX having a history this year of basically waving a hand and destroying a bunch of other, crypto establishments and then coming in and gobbling them up, purchasing them or whatever.
Right.
And then, something like what might be described as like a controlled demolition. If you look at the whole year, it's almost as if Sam Bankman-Fried has been heading up, or at least is the fall guy or the face of the scapegoat of an absolutely controlled demolition of crypto infrastructure across the world.
And by the way,
and hearing and the fact that he's so hooked in with WEF and the controlled elite infrastructure, it totally makes sense that his job would be to come in and orchestrate a complete destruction of people's faith in cryptocurrency, or, you know, the ability for crypto to stand on its own without government regulation or government control, probably more specifically. Yeah. I mean, what he's done is and not just in this event, with everything FTX has been involved with all year, he's basically orchestrated the situation that will compel government to come and centralize cryptocurrency, maybe across the whole world. And of course, what better, you know, situation to have created to help your buddies over at the World Economic Forum, you know, come swoop in, save the day with the global coin or whatever.
Right, right. Yeah. And by the way, just to be clear, this is not a direct, it's obviously affects the price of cryptocurrencies and everything else, but in terms of the actual network of Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that, it's not affected at all. So it's really
still disconnected, which is the funny part, because they can't do anything about that.
Right.
You know, the actual blockchain, anybody can still interact with. And that's why, you know, cryptocurrency still has, you know, the main ones, especially Bitcoin, still sort of maintaining a status quo of price right now. Whereas really what's being destroyed is the ability for the normal average person to download an app and involve themselves in crypto. That's the biggest, you know, death in this whole massacre.
Involve in the way they're used to in Web 2, the convenience of Web 2 of having an email address and a password, you know,
a commercial, a retail relationship with crypto, where an average person can do what they're used to, which is making an account, downloading an app, and boom, get into crypto. But it's for those who are, you know, aware of the real interaction. If you can interact directly with cryptocurrency, you don't really need all that kind of stuff. But it makes it, again, it's kind of like pushing crypto to the back of the line of easily accessible things for your average person to interact with.
And by the way,
which
the government
is exactly what they want. If you can keep it so obscure that it scares normal people off, that's exactly what, you know, a centralized authority would want.
The U.S. government, I believe, has more Bitcoin right now than at any other time in history. They have. Well, it's not that long of a history, but they're scooping it up from, you know, different scams that they've collapsed or whatever it is. So.
Right. It's all FBI seizures.
Yeah, seizures and things like that. So they're Bitcoin rich, which is not surprising. One last thing before we move on here. Of course, when we started talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, I think June was when we started talking about him. BitBoy Crypto was the biggest crypto guy. He had invested like $500,000, maybe more, in FTX or the FTT token and whatnot. Well, now he made a huge turn. Obviously, he's now kind of taken credit, or some people are giving him credit for being the whistleblower on FTX and you know, being the guy to take down Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever. But he said this little thing here, which, you know, I don't know if he's just being dramatic or maybe he's being sincere. 14 seconds of BitBoy Crypto talking about his potential fate, talking about all these different issues.
You're going to find just how deep this goes. The rabbit hole, it just continues to go deeper and deeper. And we're not even touching on the corruption of the government and all this and what this potentially means. So at some point I may have to chill or I might get killed.
At some point I may have to chill or I might get killed.
I mean, now that we know all of the elite institutions that are connected with this, I wouldn't necessarily scoff at him too much.
I'm not because, well, he did do a turn and he has publicly declared he's a Christian. So I'm rooting for the guy, but also
public enemy number one.
I think he was going to go on like Alex Jones. So taking a page out of his book of sensationalism. It's stuff like that where you say stuff like that. And again, I'm not even dismissing it. It's probably true. I mean, at other points he said like, there's names that I definitely am not going to mention. I know my boundaries, stuff like that. So he's definitely, but he's playing that game too, so you got to realize he's also somebody that's been allowed to be established on YouTube, 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube or whatever. And he's also pushing his own bill, his crypto bill that's supposed to be more pro-freedom or whatever. So very interesting times right now. And again, I know people kind of get sick of it and whatever. It's just kind of a side thing, but I don't think people realize how close we were to really getting a Sam Bankman-Fried-esque monopoly on crypto in the United States, which would, go elsewhere all over the world. And also, how actually intertwined all this stuff is to the whole apparatus that everyone's been calling out all this time. And that's why I said at the beginning, it feeds into the Q-esque conversation. I didn't show, there's a picture of Alameda Research's symbol, which kind of looks like the boy lover symbol, the triangle with the arrow with the line under it. I mentioned that, I think we mentioned it on air like 6 months ago or whatever, pointing out the Alameda Research logo. And also Sam Bankman has like the heart inside a heart logo on his shirt, like on his little avatar. And that's also that child brain type
according to the FBI.
According
website.
to the FBI documents. And, it's been part of the conversation with those conspiracy theorists, not us, of course, but just conspiracy.
Of course.
So,
wow. Okay.
A lot there.
Well, you got me on this one, Gons.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I know you poo-poo.
This one involves a lot of people, involves a lot of worldwide movements, organizations, and unsavory people. And this is bigger than it seemed at first.
I'm telling you, man. It's huge. It's almost like it's a big party. Oh. No. Go to Canary party. Find all the links. Oh my gosh. Failing. Sorry,
go check it out.
Got a little flustered there. Sorry.
CanaryCry.party. It's got all the links to all the things you could possibly want. Of course, get connected to the community, the Discord channel, the forums, all the good places to find Canarians just like you. But you can also check out Ravel, which is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. We explore society, scripture, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. This week, Dr. Chris went solo on a thread talk. It's a new style of episode that we're putting out. I think you guys are going to love it. Those Dr. Chris fans are really going to like this episode. You can also, not only has our YouTube channel for this show rightfully been reinstated from its wrongful suspension, same with the Canary Cry Clips channel. So you can go check out Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey, which is this show clipped out, all the segments, easily accessible, shareable. Go check it out. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. And you can sign up for our text message alert system. If you are not getting notifications for the show, or you just want to stay connected straight through a text message, you can go ahead and text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. We'll put you on the list. Don't worry, we don't gather any personal information. We just send out text messages 3 times a week when we're getting ready to go live. And with that, let's thank some producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right. We're going to take a quick break and thank some producers, because we're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. There's a lot of wonderful reasons why we do that. It is not an easy life, but it is one where true value that is received by listeners and viewers of the show represents value that can be returned with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And indeed, it's the only way that this show can keep going. We don't take any support from any of the normal avenues that usually keep shows like ours going. Part of that is because we believe that corporate money is the reason that we've gotten in such a messy place in the world in the first place. Why would we want a corporation deciding the value of our independent media? And if you agree with that, consider supporting the show. Again, you can produce with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If you want to support financially, it's very important. important that we're able to keep the lights on over here. It's only because of the support we receive that we're able to continue doing this show 3 times a week for the amount and the length that we do, which, remember, this is not just a 3-day-a-week thing for us. It takes 7 days a week.
24/7.
Yeah, we don't get a day off. We're constantly working on the next episode, and we're only able to do that because of producers of the show. Everybody should try producing at least once, and not everybody has to produce every show, but as long as people are being honest and participating in the value for value model, then we can keep on going, maybe even do more.
Ooh.
Today is not that day. But one of these days.
Don't get people too excited.
Well, I'm just saying there is a level of producer engagement that would allow us to do even more. Yeah. We're not there. In fact, we're going the opposite direction. But I want to thank some people. We already thanked our executive producer. That's Em and Bobby. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Em and Bobby.
We got a couple of supply droppers coming in. Let's thank them.
Okay, supply droppers.
That's right. One Mogan. The supply droppers are those who commit $33.33 per month. Yes, it's a tongue-in-cheek number, but yes, it also has gone a long way to keeping us alive during sort of the economic uncertainty recently. And we really encourage people to sign up for this. It's an easy and super effective way to support the show, and you get stuff. You know, a lot of times people haven't produced the show because, you know, the value for value model hasn't quite sunk in, or they want to get something for it. They don't consider the show to be the value. I don't know. It's the whole thing. But the supply drop has really saved our butts, and so we like to thank the supply droppers. Now, if you're interested, go to canarycrysupply.com and check it out. Previously people said they didn't sign up because they don't want to use PayPal. Well, now we have non-PayPal options. It's beautiful. We can have a relationship directly with your card or your bank or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's how it works. We got a few people to thank. Are you ready?
Yep.
Thank you to Kira Contrite Spirit.
Hey, Kira Contrite Spirit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kira. And Kira has been watching the live shows for a long time. We've seen Kira had a lot of wonderful things to add. Thank you very much, Kira. And a note here says, let's see, is this for reading on the show? Oh, yeah. Hey, B&G. I just canceled my rarely used Illustrator subscription. Yeah, that's for those who don't know, that's Adobe Illustrator. Adobe moved to a subscription model,
cloud model, a
couple of years ago, where you can't just buy a piece of software and own it. You have to rent it, which is great. So, anyways, Kira canceled their Illustrator subscription, which is $33 a month. LOL. Which, when you think about it, that's a lot if you're not using Illustrator. So I could sign up for the supply drop. Didn't see a place for a note, so here you go. Thank you. You did the right thing. Thank you for blessing me/us with this crucial ministry, peace in Christ, Kira Contrite Spirit. That's a good.
Thank you.
Hey, that's a good way to do it. You know, we all should be at least once a month. You know, check and see what subscriptions are just floating around. That you're not using anymore, and canceling those things. It's just a smart thing to do financially. But the great part is, hey, maybe you can get rid of a subscription you're not using to participate in keeping this show going if it brings value to your life. So thank you very much, Kira.
Thank you.
And let us know what you canceled. If you canceled some other subscription in order to keep your favorite podcast alive, let us know what you canceled so we know who's going to be coming after us. So Adobe, number one. Thank you, Kira. We also have Dame Sarah the Shadows signed up for the
Sarah the Shadows.
Drop.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dame Sarah. So there you go. That's two new supply droppers. Thank you very much. Again, everybody go to canarycrysupply.com to sign up. I'll even put a link into the chat right now if anybody is convinced that this is a good idea, which I hope one of these days everybody understands just how important this program is to keeping us alive, but also the cool stuff you get for it. There you go. Go check it out. We're all waiting for the supply drop.
Waiting for the supply drop.
Okay, we got some producers who came in. Let's thank them now.
Do it.
Starting with Sandra M. Sandra M came in for $33.33.
Illuminatus, Sandra.
Illuminatus indeed. I was trying to see if Sandra was trying to sign up for the supply drop. It doesn't look like she went through that link, but if you're trying, let me know. I can send you another link. But thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
Next up, we have Mama G.
Mama G.
Yeah, Mama G signed up. Or didn't sign up. Mama G produces this episode for an undisclosed even number. So if you don't want us to disclose your producership amount, just make it a nice, easy, even number. If you don't mind us reading the amount, make it, a funky number. Some people send little messages in the numbers, or 33 or 77 or something that will let us know you don't mind. So thank you very much, Mama G, for your producership.
Thank you, Mama G.
Appreciate it. Producer Leo T comes on to support us on the Patreon.
Thank you, Leo T.
Thank you very much, Leo T. All right. Short list today. Next up, we've got Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots. He's on a 165 episode streak.
Fast thing on 2 feet.
11. Thank you,
11. Yeah. Oh, Kira in the chat says, I have to have the calendar. You do.
Yes.
You did the right thing. Signing up to get the calendar next month is, you will not regret it. It's a very special item we're sending out in the supply drop next month. Next, we've got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol, comes in with a pocket full of sevens and fees, and this is a big day. It is his 100th streak of supporting the show.
Tweakers. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
100. You did it. Thank you very much, Sir LX Protocol. Very faithful production of the show. And there you go. That concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a few more who came in under that, and we are going to thank them now.
Okay.
Are we trying our shift
of
this?
We can. Okay. I'm just leaving it to you, bud.
Okay. All right. Well, let's give it a try. So, we are... Oh, I forgot to mention. I should mention it not in the producer segment because people are going to be skipping it. But in the newsletter that was sent out today, there is a button to take a little survey. As we always are trying to do, perfect the show, perfect the system, be agile, adapt to current situations. In the newsletter, which you can find in your inbox or more likely in your promotions tab or something like that, you'll find a button to a survey, just a short 5-question survey that will help us understand how everybody thinks about the value for value model and maybe ways that we can improve it. So if you would take that survey, it's just really helpful. There's even an option to leave us a voicemail and tell us vocally what you think of it. Don't worry, those won't be on the show. But we just really want to take the temperature of how we're doing value for value and ways we can make it better, to encourage participation. So if you could do that, go check it out, please. Part of what we're going to try out is with the under 777 cutoff people, we will be saving the jingle extravaganza till after the list. Maybe we'll ring the bell, of course, Gons, or the harp or whatever it is. But we will do a streak thank you all at is to make things more efficient.
Okay.
All right. You ready to thank some people?
Yep.
Thank you to Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas, on a 71 episode streak.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 231 episodes in a row.
Woo.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 220 episodes in a row.
Beautiful.
Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 195 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Veronica D, the Streak Sister,
Thank you,
195 also. And then we have Runk Smash on a 16-episode streak.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Yeah, so I don't think there was any new, streak amount jingles there. So why don't we just give them a nice little streak extravaganza?
We're going streaking! Come on, everybody, we're going! Woo! Come on! Yeah! What?
Tweaker.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much. The street. Fast thing on 2 feet. Women rule.
Oh, yeah.
Streakalicious.
Exciting. Thank you very much to all of our producers keeping this show going. Remember, you can support this show by going to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Okay, Guns, we're going to continue the show. I am wondering, do we want to test our luck or go back to our policy? We had a policy for a very long time, protected us for quite some time, about the second half of the show, if it contains things that are too hot for YouTube, encouraging people to go watch and listen on other outlets.
I say we just invoke the Holy Spirit to be a hedge of protection on this episode against YouTube moderators.
Really?
I don't think that the article is that bad for us to. I mean, it's literally CNBC. There's one article.
Here's the thing. I'll give the disclaimer again. Let's wake up. I'll give the disclaimer.
All right, we'll wake up. Okay, here we go. Back to this. Here it is. Wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Are you ready for the COVID jingle, or are you going to do the disclaimer first?
Hold on.
Okay.
So I've just finished fighting this battle, getting 2 erroneous
accusations.
Appeals. Moderated, content taken down and us banned from YouTube, suspended or whatever. And it was erroneous. We didn't say anything that wasn't being said by the mainstream media. The problem is that the robots catch it, and that's, and then we have to appeal. It's a whole thing, and it takes a week or 2 weeks to get the show back, which is, it's just not worth it to me, because it's just a pain in the butt. So usually we would tell people now to go to Rumble, go to wherever. But I guess we're going to do this one. So I will give this disclaimer. And this disclaimer is very important, because this disclaimer is what made clear what got us our channel back last time, which is we are reading the mainstream media. We are reading news from the news. If there is something that you do not like, YouTube moderators or robots, it is not because of our opinion. It is not because of anything we say. Everything we say is in the news. I know you guys are getting, it's always a moving target. Trust me, we understand. But everything you're about to hear is being reported in NBC News, CNN, and the likes of them. So if you have any problems with it, you can take it up with them. Please do not suspend our YouTube channel. There you go. I guess that's it. Also, we do not support or facilitate any misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. Let's hit that COVID vaccine jingle.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Aha.
And it wouldn't be that big of a deal unless, but the suspensions from YouTube directly affect people who produce the show. It gets us kicked off of YouTube. We don't pop up in their YouTube. They don't produce the show. So it actually does financially impact us. Yeah. And it's hard to keep the show going when that happens. So if you're mad that we cut off YouTube, there's lots of other ways to get the show. Anyways, this is coming from NBCnews.com, the official website of NBC News, the Peacock, baby.
Yep.
And this is the headline is Myocarditis After COVID Vaccination. Research on possible long-term risks underway. Okay, the research is underway, Gons. In October 2021, Devion Miller was found unconscious in the bathroom of his home in Detroit, a week after receiving his first dose of Pfizer's COVID vaccine. He had known something was wrong. Then, 22, he had started experiencing chest pain 2 days after getting vaccinated, followed by fatigue, shortness of breath, and dizziness. Miller was rushed to Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, where he was diagnosed with myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle, and pericarditis, an inflammation of the outer lining of the heart. His doctor advised him not to receive a second dose of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. Quote, "I was like, that's crazy," Miller said, noting that he knows the heart inflammation condition following vaccination is extremely rare. Miller is one of a very small group of people in the United States who have experienced myocarditis following vaccination with the Pfizer-BioNTech or Moderna COVID vaccines based on mRNA technology. Myocarditis is a condition that has long been linked to a number of viral infections, including influenza, coccidioides virus, as well as COVID. It has also been observed as an infrequent but worrisome side effect of the mRNA COVID vaccines.
Yeah, quite a bit there.
Bit of a change. Bit of a change in tone.
I think it's telling that they are starting with a personal interest story to bring this to you.
Key.
It's not so much, here are the facts. It's more like, this guy, what's his name? Devon Miller?
Yes.
Is it's crazy. Oh, no.
That is new.
And it's new. It's rare.
The mainstream media, there's corporate news stations. They use, the public interest angle as a way to play on the emotional aspect of a story. And you will notice, if you go back and look at the archive of, articles that come out during the depths of the COVID pandemic, it was very different. They would only sort of invoke a personal interest story if they were specifically ready to use it as an emotional connection.
Right.
It invests someone immediately. And especially, using a personal interest story to invest people in a story about adverse events or side effects of something like this was a big no-no, because you don't want people to be emotionally invested in the problem.
Right.
But a little bit of a tone change.
And so it allows them to kind of admit to the problem without overstating it. It's always like, oh, it's rare. Yeah. It's, there's all these other things that cause it. Infrequent but worrisome side effect of the mRNA COVID vaccine.
Right. Yeah. So you state the facts, which are that it's infrequent, but and yet using, personalizing the story increases the investment in what's going on. So it's an interesting dichotomy that looks a lot different than it used to.
Yep.
When it comes to reporting like this. So it goes on. Are there long-term risks of myocarditis? Of the hundreds of millions of COVID vaccine doses given in the U.S. since late 2020, there have been around 1,000 reports of vaccine-related myocarditis and pericarditis. They did hyperlink this, and these reports originally were coming in through VAERS, but this particular hyperlink brings you to a CDC page, myocarditis and pericarditis after mRNA COVID-19 vaccine vaccination. So this is like an alert. It's an alert from the CDC, not the data. It matters. In children under the age of 18, primarily young males, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Most of those who develop the condition have fully recovered, although research so far has only looked at how well they're doing after several months. Some doctors wonder if it can cause permanent damage to the heart. Some doctors...
Just slip it in there, yeah. Just slip it in there.
Just some doctors. No names, no sources. It's just ambient concern. Now, the first research in the U.S. is underway, tracking adverse health effects, if any, that may appear in the years following.
He just told us how there is, but okay, there's just if any.
I don't know, if any, that may appear in the years following a diagnosis of vaccine-associated heart problems. Moderna has already launched 2 trials, the most recent in September. Pfizer confirmed that at least one of its trials, which will include up to 500 teens and young adults under the age of 21, is slated to begin in the next couple months. 500 is a fairly small sample size. The Food and Drug Administration has required that the drug makers conduct several studies assessing the potential long-term impacts of myocarditis. Isn't that nice that the FDA is requiring it now?
Yeah,
here we are in 2022 is now requiring these studies. It seems maybe in the future they should require these studies ahead of time. As part of its approval of the mRNA COVID vaccines in the U.S. As part of its approval. I thought they were already approved.
Oh, no, emergency use, bro. We were in the EUA.
Right, but I thought that there was a version. Anywho, early findings from the research could be published as early as next year, sources told NBC News. Good. They're going to publish the research next year in their multi-year study that they just started. Some of the trials will follow those who developed the condition for as long as 5 years, according to the FDA's approval letters. The trials will be monitoring for myocarditis and subclinical myocarditis, which doesn't cause symptoms. Yeah, that's been a big part of the conversation recently. Subclinical myocarditis. The FDA declined to comment on Pfizer's and Moderna's studies because they are ongoing. But an agency official said the chance of having myocarditis occur following vaccination is, quote, very low. The condition does not lead to cardiac-related death. So myocarditis, as told by NBC, does not lead to cardiac-related death, the official said, as claimed by Florida's Surgeon General last month, who cited an unpublished analysis of state data. Interesting set of inferences.
Little burn against the Florida Surgeon General.
You know, this is Florida Surgeon General citing unpublished analysis of state data. I guess we are to think less of this data if it's unpublished. I suppose that's the case. The condition does not, this is cardiac-related death, very specific.
Yeah. Not necessarily myocarditis, although that could be constituted as cardiac-related death, but interesting.
So I guess it's just interesting specifics there. Quote, there is no evidence of increased risk of deaths following mRNA vaccines compared to individuals who did not get vaccinated, the official said. Quote, in fact, evidence from well-conducted, peer-reviewed, published studies suggest the risk of death is higher for unvaccinated individuals for nearly every age group. And then it goes into what is known about myocarditis and vaccines. Are we going through the whole thing?
No, there's a part in here. It
kind of goes into stuff we kind of already know.
Yeah, so there's a part down here. Last month, Kaiser Permanente scientists found that incidences of myocarditis following a booster dose of either the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine were higher than after the first dose, but still lower than after the second. Is that clear to you, Basil?
No,
it's not. It was not clear to me either. I had to do it I had to read it like 5 times and map it. I'm like, why is this sentence in here? Okay. Kaiser Permanente scientists found that the incidences of myocarditis following a booster dose of either Pfizer or Moderna were higher after the first dose.
Higher
first
than
booster,
after the first dose.
Were higher than after the first dose. So people getting myocarditis after.
I think the first, so you've got your primary doses, 1 and 2, and then the booster. So they're saying the myocarditis or the incidences of myocarditis following a booster dose is more than your first shot,
right?
But lower than after the second shot.
Yeah.
So after your first shot, you have a
very high risk.
A certain risk.
Right.
Then the risk is lower after the second shot, but then the risk goes back up when you get your booster. So they're saying it's wait a second. Moderna
following a booster dose were higher.
No.
Following a booster dose were higher than after the first dose, but still lower than the second one.
Okay.
So, yes.
Here's what it is. So you get your first dose. There's some chance of myocarditis. You get your second dose. There's a greater chance of myocarditis. And then following your third dose, your booster, it is greater chance than your first dose, but lower than your second dose. So if you survive your second dose without myocarditis,
I mean, I don't even know what the point is.
Chance,
I don't.
I know it is very specific.
Yeah,
it is a very specific
right, doesn't tell
way
us
of explaining it. Yeah.
Yeah. The next sentence.
Well, I don't know what it's supposed to tell us.
I don't either. That's why I was like, okay, what is the sentence in here for? The article continues. There has not been a similar reporting pattern observed after receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Novavax has said no heart inflammation concerns were raised during clinical trials of its vaccine. Now, we've noticed that when mainstream media mentions Johnson & Johnson or Novavax, pretty much anybody other than Pfizer and Moderna, it was always in a negative light. Oh, Johnson & Johnson, not as good.
Yeah, it's like not even approved. You can't even
just
get
don't use that.
Stick
with the Pfizer, the Moderna. But now that there's so much scrutiny with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, it's almost like NBC News is sort of pivoting where the cash flow might be for the next few months or years or whatever. They're like, we don't know how well the Pfizer thing is going to do. You know, the sentiment is not good. So let's start appealing back to Johnson & our our staple bedrock.
See,
I
got to disagree with you because you mean the J&J vaccine you can't even get anymore.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying just in terms of a company.
J&J products, right? I mean, they had their anthrax baby powder, and they're they've had some problems, right?
Yeah.
So they're getting ready to do some big ad buys.
I
could see that. It is also a way to infer that the problem is connected with the mRNA.
Yes.
Because Novavax and Johnson & Johnson, why are we even talking about them except for they're not mRNA and they didn't have the heart problems, allegedly. Or as far as what is this news? NBC is reporting, right?
Yeah. And the article goes on and has a bunch of other stuff that we've covered over the past couple of years. It does say here, in some cases, people who've developed myocarditis after a viral infection, not the vaccine, just the viral infection, can suffer scarring along the heart's tissue. We talked about that, the Salk University study, which is sort of the foundation for the rest of what they talk about here.
Yeah, the Salk University study, we should keep that link at hand a little bit better, because that was the Salk University, which is very highly respected, specifically vaccine research institution. I mean, it's named after Salk, who invented the polio vaccine? No, it's some vaccine. Yeah. And they were suspicious of the spike protein itself causing the damage. Yeah.
Right, which, by the way, your mRNA vaccine does turn you into a spike protein factory, according to these people.
I don't know if I'd put it that way on YouTube, Gons, but yes,
I'm just repeating
that
what
is how the mRNA vaccine works. It turns your cells to create some spike protein, so your body can learn to fight the spike protein. Gons.
There's a couple more highlights here. I have scientists still don't have a clear explanation yet for why the vaccines cause the condition, according to Dr. Paul Burton, Moderna's chief medical officer. He expects the virus's spike protein, once produced in the cell after vaccination, may generate a reaction in the body that can cause inflammation in the heart.
That's interesting. Where are you reading? Oh, I see. It continues. Yeah. That we got in trouble for
saying this exact thing. I have the Salk article here, by the way.
You got the Salk article, yes, because we lost a YouTube channel specifically for saying that the Salk Institute made that connection with the spike protein, but NBC here is saying that Moderna themselves are saying that the spike protein is the issue. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Man, it's almost like I wish we could appeal a strike on YouTube.
I know.
From like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that channel that no longer exists.
Saved us a whole lot of heartbreak and a whole lot of resentment, probably.
The 2 myocarditis studies Moderna has started, one of which is in collaboration with the American College of Cardiology, are using public and private data of tens of millions of people who received the company's vaccines and how they fared. Burton said, private data? Where do they get all this private data from?
That's a good question. Where is this private data?
This is interesting. A little tell there. And it just goes in. A year later, Miller is still experiencing symptoms. Back to Miller. Got to end it with the personal interest story, including chest pain.
No, keep going.
While there is comfort in knowing his situation is rare, he said he's been in and out of the hospital since his diagnosis, which he says has been difficult for him. Quote, "It's been a scary experience," he said. So, yes, very scary for those people who are suffering from myocarditis.
Kind of a bummer, you know. He's just doing what he was told was right.
Yeah.
And anybody who had anything to say about it was called a conspiracy theorist and kicked off of YouTube. So this is a pretty big development as far as corporate news even really touching it at all.
But touching it at all.
To be making some of the inferences that they are just blatantly making. I don't think I ever thought we would see the day where this subject would be
reported.
I guess maybe I figured there'd continue to be studies that came out, because there's been studies on this for years now, for two years or more, but they've just been sort of ignored or defamed or something like that. But for it to be, mainstream news, any old vaccinated Joe or Jack or Jill or whoever will now be reading about a risk that they were told was not a factor back when they were doing the right thing by saving their grandma's life by getting vaccinated. So good for them. Good for NBC. Good, really, for society as a whole to finally have this stuff being talked about.
You know what else is good? What else is good?
Would feel better. What?
Cruise ships.
Let's take a cruise, baby. This is a fun one. CNN.com. Headline speaks for itself. Cruise ship with 800 COVID positive passengers dock in Sydney, Australia, baby. A cruise ship with hundreds of COVID positive passengers docked in Sydney, Australia, after being hit by a wave of infections.
Oh, a wave.
The Majestic Princess cruise ship was about halfway through a 12-day voyage when an outbreak of cases was noticed. We noticed an outbreak. 800 of our patients of our guests are sick. I guess we'll notice it now. Carnival Australia President Marguerite Fitzgerald told reporters in a media briefing on Saturday. The ship had 4,600 passengers and crew on board at the time, according to CNN affiliate 9 News. After mass testing, 3,300 passengers.
What happened to the other 1,200? Are they immune? What's going on? Why did they stop at 3,300?
They tested 3,300 passengers, but left 1,300 passengers untested for some reason. Around 800 tested positive for COVID-19, as did a small number of crew, Fitzgerald said. Quote, all positive cases were mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic, and those guests isolated in their staterooms and then separated from society. Just kind of sprung up naturally. Parent company Princess Cruises representatives Brianna Latter told CNN. Cruise operators separately escorted those infected off the ship and advised them to complete a 5-day isolation period, CNN affiliate 9 News reported. Those who tested negative were permitted to leave the ship. The New South Wales health statement
You
read,
may leave now.
You are permitted.
You may not.
Quote, Carnival has advised NSW, it's New South Wales Health, that they are assisting passengers with COVID-19 to make safe onward travel arrangements, the statement added. Yes, I'm sure they had some wonderful rooms ready for them in the isolation camps there in New South Wales. Latter said the outbreak aboard the Majestic Princess was, quote, reflective of an increase in community transmission in Australia. Right. Australia has seen an uptick of COVID cases recently, leading to more caution from within the government. The New South Wales Ministry of Health has recorded 19,800 new cases of COVID-19 and 22 deaths in the past week. The Majestic Princess cruise ship has since departed Sydney on her next voyage to Melbourne and Tasmania. In a later statement, Gons, Fitzgerald said Carnival Australia have made over 50 international and domestic voyages, quote, 1,000 guests unimpacted by COVID. So vast majority, don't worry, most people don't get COVID on this cruise line. Quote, however, the emergence of COVID in the community has meant we have seen a rise in positive cases on the last 3 voyages, she said. Fitzgerald said the company has been implementing, quote, the most rigorous and strict measures which go well above current guidelines, including overachievers here, including requiring 95% of guests over the age of 12 to be vaccinated, and testing staff and passengers for COVID before they board. So everybody gets tested before they go on board.
So
and
where did it come from?
95% of them, and
95%
of them are vaccinated. Quote, we take our responsibility to keep everyone safe very seriously. This extends to not only caring for our guests, but also for the wider community in which we operate and visit, Fitzgerald said. The Majestic Princess isn't the first Carnival cruise to be hit by a COVID outbreak. Dun, dun, dun. The last 3 other ships, at least 3 other ships within the company's Princess fleet, the Ruby Princess, the Diamond Princess, and the Grand Princess experienced outbreaks earlier in the pandemic. All these princesses, Gons. What's up with the princesses?
Well, they're making the move. The queen is dead.
Yeah, Diamond Princess is the one that was famous for...
How long were they on there?
At the very beginning of the COVID outbreak, like February, March 2020, Diamond Princess were there. They were stuck there for like 6 weeks.
I was going to say,
parked because everybody had COVID. Yeah. So, 95% vaccination rate, testing before anybody gets on, and it's not enough, Gons. That just shows you may be done with COVID, Gonzo, but COVID ain't done with you. That's what I've been told.
At the Church of COVID?
That's what I think.
Is that what?
We're led. That's what I heard at the Church of COVID, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, that just means we need more boosters. More boosters, guys.
Good. Well, especially because your chances at myocarditis seem to get lower after multiple booster shots. I think that's what the NBC.
I did have a hard time understanding exactly what they were saying. So there you go. There's some updates. I noticed as we move into the fall and the winter, we've been having a hard time finding relevant COVID news for a couple months, like just nothing. And now suddenly there's some very interesting developments going on in the COVID realm.
It's seasonal,
I suppose. Well, we have the triple-demic,
I know, yeah.
The triple-demic, RSV, flu, and COVID, they're all
what happened to
monkeypox?
Are we
What did happen to monkeypox? That's a great question.
Yeah. All right.
A big letdown.
All right. Well, meanwhile, the climate, Basil, the climate is important too.
Climate change. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Climate change. Climate change. Climate change.
Mass extinction.
Climate change.
Zionist.
Okay. A lot going on there. All right, so Times of Israel had a couple articles that I would like to share with you. This first one is titled "Activists Smash Tablet Atop Mount Sinai to Launch Faith-Based Climate Push."
Why did they do that?
I'll tell you about it. So this is in Egypt, apparently. There's a couple different articles. So this first one, here, let me zoom in. Come on. Here we go. An initiative to mobilize faith leaders worldwide to push governments to do more about climate change kicked off Sunday morning with an Israeli environmental activist smashing mock tablets of stone atop an Egyptian peak believed by many to be Mount Sinai, to symbolize the world's failure to protect the planet. The idea was hatched in the run-up to the United Nations COP27 climate conference taking place in the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh by solar energy entrepreneur Yosef Abramowitz and David Miron Wapner, who chairs the Jerusalem-based Interfaith Center for Sustainable Development. The Sinai Climate Partnership, symbolically launched at the ceremony, brings together the Interfaith Center for Sustainable Development, the Elijah Interfaith Institute, the Peace Department, the United Nations Faith for Earth Initiative, Abramowitz's Gigawatt Global, and the Israeli environmental advocacy organization Adam Teva Devin. After sunrise, Abramowitz and Wapner gathered at the summit together with Nigel Savage, the founder and former director of the U.S. Jewish environmental organization Hazon, and his successor, Jakir Manella, to read sections, I think, of the Holy Land Declaration on Climate Change, signed in 2011 by the Multi-Faith Council of Religious Leaders of the Holy Land. Two teams from the U.S. From the U.S.
We got two teams.
There, as part of Christian climate observers, joined the ceremony as well. Yeah, good.
Climate observers.
The church is being, the Christians are being represented by a couple of teenagers.
Oh, teens.
Yes.
T-E-E.
Two teens from the U.S.
Oh, I thought it was teams, like, a sports team.
Like a sports ball team. No, teens. These are.
Okay, good. We got a couple teens on the team.
Yeah, they're part of the Christian Climate Observers. They joined the ceremony as well. After the group read from a new draft list of 10 principles for climate repentance, formulated by dozens of multi-faith leaders meeting in London over the past few days, Abramowitz smashed 2 tablets on the ground. The act was a symbolic echo of the Bible's Moses smashing the 10 Commandments in protest against the Israelites after descending Mount Sinai. Quote, "We look down to Sharm el-Sheikh and we're not satisfied," Abramowitz said as he smashed the tablets. "Look down upon them from this mountaintop." One of the tablets was made by youth from the Israeli branch of Strike for Future, painted with the words "Broken Promises" in Hebrew. The other tablet was painted green to symbolize the Green Commandments, Abramowitz said. Interesting.
What?
Yeah, okay.
What was that you just said, Gonzo? The Green Commandments?
The Green Commandments. Abramowitz.
Okay, I need to learn more about these green commandments.
Yes. Does it have anything to do with the Emerald Tablets? I don't know. This is a continued quote. The political leadership of the world has not come through on climate until now, he said. Quote, it's the 27th gathering of world leaders, and things are just getting worse. We are calling on faith leaders to add to the sense of urgency. We are calling on faith leaders to add to the sense of urgency and to have them weigh in, hopefully, forcefully, and globally, to push for the reduction by 50%, at least, of global warming emissions by 2030. Reducing emissions so gradually is immoral at this point. So, Basil, the pace at which we are taking care of climate change and all the problems, the emissions, reducing emissions.
Specifically reducing emissions.
The pace is immoral now. It's too slow.
Wow.
We need faith leaders to step up, hopefully, forcefully, and globally push for more reduction by 2030. Okay. All right. That's a very aggressive stance there. James Sternlicht, head of the Peace Department, called on faith leaders to take a climate vow. Quote, I, as a person of hope, I'm a person of hope, Basil, pledge to make the world a better place for people and planet each day that I may live. Quote, today as faiths put aside their differences and common call for climate action, we work towards a new covenant for mankind in the name of the protection of our common home and for the betterment of our shared human future, he said by video link from the COP27 confab. A new covenant for mankind.
Strong words, yeah. New covenant. You got the old covenant. You've got the new covenant of the New Testament. But now we've got the new covenant, the green covenant.
Yes.
I mean, those are extraordinarily strong words for someone who might, be missing the specific message of those words is we, meaning this person and their group, are rewriting the contract with God.
Mm-hmm.
And having it revolve around, the eco green commandments or whatever, rewriting a contract with God. Traditionally, as it is written, Gons, in the scripture, usually it's God who's doing the writing of the contracts.
Yeah.
And, and man sort of having the opportunity to get on board with the contract that God has written for us. This is a bit of a new take on it. We get to write our own contract.
Oh, is he playing God? Is that what's happening here? Maybe playing God? Well, it's interesting.
It really does have a very interesting feeling to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, just for reference, in the Bible in Daniel 9:27, in the ESV, he shall, and this is the beast, the second, the Antichrist, I guess, not the second, but the Antichrist. He shall make a strong covenant with many for 1 week, and for half the week he shall put an end to sacrifices and offering. Now, there's different interpretations of this passage saying, hey, maybe this is Jesus, coming in and stopping bringing an end to sacrifice. But what's interesting is that the new covenant to Christians is the New Testament, like as you mentioned.
Right.
But for the Jews, the New Testament is not the new covenant. They're waiting for the new covenant. Right. So that's what makes this very fascinating in terms of spiritual leaders making the whole climate change thing a spiritual movement and bringing all the faiths together. Very fascinating. It is a ritual here. This is not a ritual. It is totally a ritual.
Yeah. Very much a ritual.
It's bringing about a certain worldview.
And an evocative ritual too. I mean, you are evoking specifically the events of the Old Testament of Moses smashing the tablets after initial rejection of the Ten Commandments by Israel on Mount Sinai, or coming down from Mount Sinai. So evoking that, scriptural event to create a ritual of a new covenant is this is someone who, might be outside of, knowledge of theology or biblical,
our eschatomics.
Yeah, the eschatomix correctly, yes. Somebody outside of that might just kind of see it as an art piece, an activism art or something. But it's very specifically a ritual evoking the rewriting of a contract with God, and an initial rejection of the contract. I mean, that's why the Moses smashed the original tablets.
Right.
It was sort of a symbol of Israel's rejection of God's offer.
Right.
And so, very almost chilling ritual.
I know.
To be doing in the name of, eco-activism.
Which is interesting because, usually you think of some kind of uprising or grassroots thing as the counter movement to the establishment. And recently, with Greta especially kind of leading the charge, they've had this controlled opposition, like very obvious controlled opposition, where you have what looks like an anti-establishment movement, grassroots type of thing,
right.
But it's really just for the same thing. It's just, hey, we want more. We want our politicians to do more. It's very fascinating. Now, here's we've been in this time the last few weeks. The Kanye, the Kyrie, the anti-Semitic conversation. That whole thing has been spotlighted. Now,
right.
I think there is a point to connect with this, and I have it in the last paragraph of the article here. Savage noted, Savage is one of the people here, that Israel would soon mark 75 years since its founding, which he described as an inflection point for the nation. Quote, that 75th anniversary at this particular time, given everything that's going on in the world and with the new government coming in Israel, is a genuine key moment and opportunity for the state of Israel and the Jewish people to say that the next 25 years will be about responding to the climate crisis. What this means, Basil, is that if you are anti-climate change, like if you're against the narrative or the concerns of climate change, you are anti-Semitic. That is very much in play here. So just watch out for that.
Yeah, I mean, that is very specifically the what's the word? The dynamic. Yeah, well, it's the dynamic that's being set up with these declarations.
Yeah, very spiritually.
I mean, of course
binding.
it is. Of course, of course it is. We've seen it. We've seen the sort of loose. What's the word? The loose comparisons strengthening in the mainstream. Representation of anti-popular thoughts, anti-mainstream narratives, any opportunity they possibly can to identify it with anti-Semitism. And I'm surprised it took this long for it for this one to be, sort of instilled in the lexicon.
And what I think in my opinion, the more sinister part of this is to really bring all the religions together as part of this thing. And to that point, just to real quick, the article that came out, I think before, same Times of Israel article, the headlines, multi-faith leaders to gather in Israel and around the world for climate repentance. And it lists the nations here: Jews, Muslims, Christian, or religions, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and Buddhists from Israel, Egypt, the U.S., India, Spain, and the U.K. plan to gather Sunday. So again, this is part of the climate repentance thing here, prior report, but that's what all the monotheistic religions with Jews, Muslims, and Christians, and Christians being very, not clearly defined there. Is it Catholics? Is it whatever? It's a very general Christians, and then Hindus and Buddhists also I thought was interesting to bring into the fold here. Israel, Egypt, U.S., India, Spain, and U.K. So
well, I'm curious because it's obviously a statement against the actions or non-action of governments.
Right.
But it's doing so with a religious foundation.
Yeah.
And, in theory, at least in the U.S. and other Western democracies, there's supposed to be a separation between church and state. So it's not necessarily telling the governments anything new. I mean, it's very specifically is sort of a way to manipulate the stance of individuals in the name of God. And in this case, however many faiths you can get on board with it, that's how many sort of gods you're speaking for. Right. And so it really is about public perception. It's really about changing the minds of the public, and really not anything to do with governments. And the reason I point this out is because of the fallacy that it is individuals' responsibility for the majority of the
climate issues,
the climate
emission problem and all that
emissions
stuff,
and pollution. This is a classic move where the corporations, if you're really gonna figure out who is actually responsible for some damage being done, it's the corporations. It's the multinational elite sort of boardrooms filled with reptiles type of institutions that have created the system in which carbon emissions are the
alleged problem.
The most robust problem. Yeah. And the whole idea of putting it on the shoulders of individuals is only
guilt tripping everybody.
Only serves to protect the current power structures from any responsibility, or at least any responsibility, to anybody taking it too seriously. Right. So, I could see the multinational, energy corporations just doing a little dance, doing a little jig, and throwing some confetti up in the air, partying at the fact that you have religious organizations, again, putting it on either the individual responsibility of human beings who are born into a system created for them without their consent, or, which is more of the Hebrew tradition, the rabbinical Judaism, which is it is a corporate responsibility, not corporate like corporations, but corporate as in the community of people to make this change. When again, in reality, almost in the entirety of the carbon emissions issue comes from profit-seeking corporations that don't really care about the environment, but they'll work within some WEF sort of system to get a good ESG score. Yeah. And they can say, hey, look, we've got a great ESG score. This is on you, peasants.
Give us more money.
On us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're going to charge more for gas now because it's so expensive saving the earth.
Yeah. Let me really quickly go through the 10 principles of climate repentance here. It's short.
Oh, good. Yes.
Number 1. We are stewards of this world. I can agree with that. I don't see a problem with that.
That's
2,
pretty standard.
Creation manifests divinity. Okay, that's an interesting, big leap.
There's an argument to say that that's exactly the opposite, but okay, all right. We see where you're coming from.
Everything in life is interconnected. This is sure, okay. The butterfly effect apparently is central.
I guess, theory. Sure.
Do no harm.
Okay.
I could agree with that. Yeah, do no harm. Sure. Especially by condemning people that don't agree with your agenda. Don't harm them.
Sure.
Look after tomorrow. Yep. That's what calendars are for.
Let tomorrow worry about itself.
Rise above ego for our world. Okay, this is starting to get a little new agey. Rise above ego.
Just kind of means nothing. It means nothing. But okay.
I like this one. Right. 7, change our inner climate. You see, Basil, the world is just a manifestation of our minds. So if we change our inner climate, we will change the outer climate. We will save the world.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Waiting. Yeah, okay.
You're waiting. What are you waiting?
I'm waiting for the hold multinational corporations accountable for their profit-seeking psychopathy.
Well, maybe this is directed at them. Number 8, repent and return. Yeah. Not very specific, but this could apply to those corporations.
Yeah, we need Shell to repent and return.
Number 9, every action matters. Okay. It feels like they're really stretching now. Number 10, use mind, open heart. this does look like a teenager came up with this list of 10. Nothing wrong with teenagers. I'm just saying, if you're talking about
use mind,
open
and
heart.
for those who are just listening, it's use mind, comma, open heart.
Yeah, it's almost allowing the evil spirits to just manifest into your bodies. It's just inviting them in.
We are to open our we are to use our minds, and we are to open our hearts.
Yes.
You know, one thing that no matter who you are, you have got to respect about the original 10 commandments coming down from Sinai. They are specific and actionable. That is the beauty of the 10 commandments. They are specific and actionable.
Applicable and actionable.
They are free from ambiguity.
Yes.
That is one of the beautiful things about the original 10 commandments, that you cannot give credit to this new green commandments list. I can barely call any of these specific and actionable.
It's almost like there's a description of each one of these missing or something. I don't understand what is going on with just these short phrases.
Yeah. This is bad. It's just not well done. Honestly, look, I'll set it aside. All other criticisms aside, these 10 green commandments, they needed to be specific and actionable. Not a single one of them is specific. They're all kind of woo-woo. You gotta interpret them to understand what they're talking about. And actionable, use mind, open heart. It's just not going to work. Look,
what's your call to action? Change our inner climate.
How
do we do that? I thought human temperature was a pretty consistent thing, unless you get sick.
Just as a spiritual consultant here, for anybody out there trying to rewrite the 10 commandments, make them specific and actionable, these are going nowhere, baby.
Well, it's a good way to
commandments.
It's a good way to have an excuse to break some stuff and create a ruckus and maybe get an article featured about it. You know, maybe that's what we got to do. We got to go on Sinai, break some tablets, call upon the Canary movement or something. I don't know. Get the attention.
We'll leave that to the activists. That's not our job. Yeah, specific and actionable, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that. That is a nice update in the battle for the
who
climate.
Was it? Somebody shared. I forgot who shared it. Somebody shared it to us through our email. I forget who it was.
What?
These articles. A producer came in.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but thank you, producer, whoever did.
You. I forget who it was. I apologize. I should have had that more readily available. But there you go. Thank you. And let's take a moment to thank more of our producers, especially those coming in with their talents.
Mm-hmm.
Break.
It's break time!
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content.
One way you can contribute to the value for value model here is by contributing with your God-given talents. Don't just consume the content. Provide value back by building the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask
participate, baby.
Yeah, participate. All we ask is that you make it about the show. And we're going to start off with, you know what? Let's do Speak Pipe real quick because we do have a Speak Pipe.
Okay. Oh, do we?
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
If you go to canarycryradio.com, you'll see a tab on the right side or the bottom of the page. And if you click on it, it'll pop up a window that says record. Send a voice message to Basil and Gons. Leave us a message. You can say hi to us, encourage listeners, thank producers, or just give a hearty think outside the cage. So we encourage everybody to do that. It's about 90 seconds or so. I think 90 seconds exactly, where the recording time available. All right, so the first one.
You're giving us permission to play the message, but it is not guaranteed.
Yes. The first one, or first and only one, is from Rochelle.
Hello, Canarians. Well, I've got a song for you today, but it's rather long. I'll probably have to do this in 2 parts. I'll cut out the chorus. Anyway, it's called You Have a Name. King of Kings, you have a name with great love crowned in pain. Lamb of God took the blame. Wonderful Counselor, Son, Spirit, Father, the Shepherd of Israel. We sing to Emmanuel, the plural singularity. Yahweh and his word will be. The leper and repenter say, Savior, please clean us and teach us, Creator. Commander of angel armies, the spirit of prophecy. Okay, well, here's the next chorus, and then it goes on. So I will be back Wednesday for more. Thanks, everyone, and stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Rochelle. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And you're able to do it in one message. Yeah.
In one message is beautiful. Yes. Before we move on, I wanted to talk about the street team real quick.
Okay.
Canary Cry Street Team. I popped an image into the document there, down there in the art production section. If you're able to pull that up, you can throw it on the screen whenever you're available. Thank you to our audience personal assistants for reminding me about this. I can't remember exactly who it was, but this is from K Razy, or AKA Real Show Burps, and was talking about the CanaryCryStreetTeam.com, the posters, all the flyers that Dove has created over the years. And they sent a message, says, hey guys, since the last posters I put up were quarter sheets, I figured I needed to put up some full-size ones. Funny thing is that one of the quarter sizers was still up in the corner, and it's been a bit. And this was Real Show Burps hanging up the street team posters on the community board in their community, which is hilarious because it's like posters for plays that people are putting on, lost dogs, business cards. Yeah. And then there's our Daddy Fauci poster, the Nephilim support group poster, then the B one, I forget that one. But it's just a nice reminder if anybody is looking just for like a funny thing to do or just a fun thing to do, maybe it's at a meetup or just during your day, print out some of these street team posters and just like spread some funniness in your community and maybe even guide people to the show while you're at it. They all, lead people to canarycry.party. But if you go to canarycrystreetteam.com, you'll see a whole bunch of these that you can just download on your computer, print them out, do whatever you want, and hang them up and send us pictures of where you hung them up because they are hilarious. And across the country, people are hanging up these ridiculous street team posters, and it's just nice. It's just nice.
I really think this can be a much bigger of a movement if it really gets going here, because people will wonder. I'm
telling you, people should do it because there's, he's created these street team posters kind of in conjunction with the current events that have been going on throughout the past couple of years. And there's a street team poster for everybody. I'll just say that. No matter who you are, there's a good one up there for you. You got the Greta ones, there's Joe Rogan ones, there's robot ones, there's Fauci ones, there's a vape related, the vape school. It's just hilarious. No matter where you are in the country, there's a funny poster you can hang up. And you know what? We all just need ways of getting through the day. So give it a try. It's fun.
All right.
CanaryCryStreetTeam.com.
Yep. Thank you very much. I don't think we have a jingle for that, do we?
No, we don't. People are asking where we get them. I'm telling you, CanaryCryStreetTeam.com. I'll throw a link into the show or into the chat here.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. And for those of you watching, you're seeing it on the screen here, canarycrystreetteam.com. All right. Let's do some audio production.
Audio production.
As we go through Brother G's list of 54 ISOs and other things, we're gonna go through some more today. Yes, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull it up. All right, here we go.
Oh, that was stalling. I see.
Yes. Opening the portal now.
Opening the portal now.
Yeah, very good.
That's good.
Yeah, I like that. That's very maybe we can use it for China, China opening the portal.
Yeah.
This is a weapon.
That is a weapon.
Oh, that.
Not a teleporter.
Oh, sorry.
It's a weapon, not a teleporter, Gons.
I feel like he was speaking to me.
That is a weapon, not a teleporter.
I got some weird feelings.
Love it.
One. I don't know. One more. Let's do. I think we've done a lot of these. Maybe this one.
Warning. Subterranean red Chinese compound detected.
Yeah, okay.
That's fun. Love it.
Good stuff. Thank you, Brother G.
Again, seems like it's all from the same robot movie or something. But I like it.
We'll figure it out. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother G.
We're going to do some art.
One art, please.
I believe we only have one today, and it's from Sir Dove, Knight of Prospeltia.
One art, please, from Dove.
And actually, I'm sorry. We have two pieces. What am I thinking? All right, this first one is from Dove, and it says, "Peace. For this week's Bible artwork, I did an illustration for 2 Corinthians 10, verse 5. We tear down arguments and every presumption set up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. Dove.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And yes, an excellent piece here by Sir Dove. Yes. Just a reminder, I'll pop the link into the chat if anybody wants to get Volume 2 or Volume 1 of Sir Dove's coffee table Bible art book. Highly recommend people do that. If you get the newsletter, you click on his art in there, you'll find a link to go support Sir Dove. This is the background is like a brick wall. You've got a mind who a gushy brain. He's kind of he's upset. He's kind of a spunky looking guy, and he's wrapped up in rope, and surrounded by him you see the tips of all sorts of swords that are keeping him captive. Mm-hmm. And it says in classic Dove font style, "Take captive every thought." And yes, this brain very much is taken captive. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. We also have one from Anon. Thank you, Anon. And she has a note. It says, "Hello, Basil and Gons. It took me a while. I haven't been able to listen to CCNT for a week due to a massive ear infection. Oh no. That's a terrible thing. Basil, you need to share your NyQuil Red Bull secret concoction recipe." Anyway.
Yeah, maybe I will.
I have a Marvillian-like post-credits continuation to the macro fiction. A little jab at Sir Dove there. Sorry, Sir Dove. I really like your artsy ideas. And whatever happened to producer Big Tank? I really missed that trucking jingle. Hope you're okay, staying safe on the road. Yeah, where is Big Tank?
We have not heard from any Canary Cry truckers recently.
Yeah, especially after the
check in
the truck protests. Truckers protesting in the U.S. too. I don't know what happened. Maybe they all got taken to some bunker or something. I don't know. We'd like to hear from our truckers listening out there. Mm-hmm. Hope you are okay and stay safe on the road. Be excellent to each other and Canary on, dudes. And
awesome.
This piece, it's a hand-drawn, looks like pencil piece. There's a supply drop parachute coming down.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, so you've got a woman there. She's standing in what looks to be. Is that? Let me hold on. Let me zoom. I'm zooming in. Yes, I see now that I zoom in. We've got. Oh wow. Yeah. It's a Basil with big googly eyes on the VR headset, a thought bubble. If only I had some lint, this could make a nifty ice vest. Yeah. Did I show my ice vest, like the inside of it, on the show? I don't remember doing that.
No.
But this is a very good representation of what the ice vest
Maybe
is like.
Anon did a little research into
a little Amazon search. Yeah.
Amazon search that too.
There's a supply drop falling from the sky. The parachute says supply drop over. It says big box of kindling.
Raw materials responsibly sourced.
Yeah.
From Sir Dove with love.
Thank you, Sir Dove with love. We got the raw materials for the big box of kindling, which was a piece at the most recent meetup, Rust Beltium meetup. He had the big box of kindling. Okay. In the foreground, there's a newspaper called the Bunker Times. Lint traps go missing in Rust Beltia. Officials suspect foul play. Foul. Like a bird, right. Fowl. This is wonderful. Oh, I can see in the background there, there's some skeletons that I think, yes, it fits in with the microfiction. That's what the reference to the microfiction was, where the Kevins, the emus, had become carnivorous and had protected me from a couple of syringe-toting malfeasance. Now their skeletons are back there. Thank you very much, Ianon. This is wonderful.
Thank you, Ianon. Appreciate it.
I forgot to check the Proton Mail. I forgot to put this art into the newsletter. Sorry about that.
It's okay. We'll make up for it. It'll be on the website in the show notes. So thank you very much. All right, real quick, couple microfictions here.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
Kick it off with the Runk Smash.
He listens intently, not realizing until she began telling of her life how trapped he had been. From the moment of birth, he'd been bathed in the lights and sounds of screens and speakers, whereas she had the nurturing warmth of rosemary and basil. This is my daughter? This is my daughter in the future. Oh my gosh, this is getting serious business. Thank you very much, Runk Smash. Peering into the alternate realities that lie in the future. Okay, next time we got one from the Sentinel, I think.
Yep. I got one from the Sentinel. Last one here.
The healer presides in the east and is a month's journey by foot. The barbarian doesn't have that long. Their only hope of reaching her on time is to commandeer the druid's transportation. Domesticated sink scorpions.
Oh, yeah. We're just as good as those Chinese propagandists right there with that timing.
Good timing, yeah. Thank you very much to all the creative people who put their heart and soul and art and soul into the show. And if you are a creative person out there, no matter what you do, create something for the show. Send it on in to canarycryradio@gmail.com, and we'd love to feature it on the show. It's easy. It's peasy. It's easy peasy. All right, anything else, Guns?
Nope, let's wrap it up.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold.
Antarctica, go first. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss. So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Penguins.
Yes. Watch out, penguins. Simpleflying.com headline. Watch. Huge illusion. Ilyushin. Spelled Ilyushin. The Ilyushin IL-76 lands on blue ice runway in Antarctica for the first time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I didn't know what or who or what, illusion. I was just like, what is this? It sounds like illusion. There's a huge illusion in Antarctica. What is happening? but apparently it's an airplane. For the first time in history, the Volga-Dnieper Airlines Ilyushin IL-76 has landed at the Russia's Progress Station in Antarctica on its blue ice runway. On November 7th, the aircraft departed from Cape Town, traveling 5,300 kilometers south in 6.5 hours, bound for Progress. The aircraft, fitted with PS-90A-76 engines, carried 82 passengers and 6.5 tons of cargo, which landed on the base's 100-meter wide and 3,000-meter long runway.
It's a lot of cargo.
Yeah, so it talks about a little football in Antarctica. And there's a little thing here. The new airfield will assist in future research for the Russian Antarctic expedition at the base, now with more flexibility for various aircraft to visit during challenging seasons and weather. Director of the Russian Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute, Alexander Makarov, commented, quote, "Our institute is based in St. Petersburg. So we collectively made the decision to name the new Antarctica airfield in honor of the St. Petersburg's football club. We're already discussing ways to promote our work with the club and to tell the supporters about our interesting work." So, okay, there's like a football sponsorship partnership thing going on there. Now, I have the video here of the landing, and I gotta say, it's cinematic, it's epic. It's got sort of the tone of a Star Wars, a planet. There's people kind of loosely hanging out on white desert snow, and then here comes this airplane.
Hoth type scene.
Yes, and the airplane comes down to land, and very barren, but it does look pretty epic. And I got to say, it invokes lots of different thoughts when it comes to
so this is a gigantic plane that is landing for the first time. It's a Russian plane, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And it's for the Russian research station. And they have what's called a blue ice runway, which is a way of manipulating the ice to make it stronger. And so, they can't put down asphalt on top of the snow or the ice or whatever. So they make these blue ice runways. And I'm curious maybe if this is the biggest plane maybe ever to land maybe not ever to land, but like to regularly be used to bring people and cargo down. Yeah. But it's interesting because Russia, as they don't have their own claim in a traditional way, not like the other countries have full-on claims. They do have this little research station, but it's quite the image, quite the statement to say, yes, we've built a blue ice runway that can land these gigantic planes, sort of signaling, their intention to move in perhaps more permanently with gear and people there. It's interesting. Again, they talk about this Ilyushin plane, Ilyushin. So it's like quite literally says illusion.
Yeah, illusion.
I'm wondering if it has like a Russian meaning.
Well, there is.
Just kind of having fun with it.
Ilyushin is a public joint stock company, Ilyushin Aviation Complex, operating as Ilyushin in Russian or as Ilyushin Design Bureau, is a former Soviet and now a Russian aircraft manufacturer and design bureau, founded in 1933. By Sergei Vladimirovich Ilyushin, Soviet-Russian nomenclature.
So it's a name?
Mm-hmm.
It was his name.
It's an actual name. Soviet-Russian nomenclature identifies aircraft from Ilyushin with the prefix IL. IL has its head office in Airport District, Northern Administration, Okrov, Moscow. So yes,
this is an interesting detail. The aircraft is widely used in locations across Asia, Europe, and Africa, with its primary users being Russian, Ukrainian, and Indian air forces. So, semi-popular plane there, but Russia and Ukraine sharing. Can't they just get along? They both use the giant plane.
Well, we might run into some issues because we, recently reported that NATO and the Western Alliance of Nations were trying to create that some kind of bill or some kind of agreement amongst the nations for not furthering the damage of Antarctica with climate change or something. And Russia was like
trying to redo the Antarctic Treaty.
Right. And Russia said, no, we're good. We're not going to sign.
Not interested.
Probably for our detriment to do that. So, yeah.
Definitely a signal that Russia sees the importance of Antarctica. Maybe they're, as the West is trying to turn Antarctica into a, liberal utopia.
The coldest safe space for all liberals and progressives.
The Great White Desert. Yeah. Russia's like, we're going to move in too, but our planes are bigger and our runway is cooler, and definitely sends a message that, hey, we're packing them in. Hey, we're bringing our biggest plane.
Don't worry, it's just an illusion.
It's an illusion.
It's not. We're not really there. It's just an illusion that the Russians are.
Yeah. I feel, again, it's kind of parallel to the issue that Russia has with the West. It's kind of frivolous. The words that Putin will use are more like satanic and secular and stuff like that. But the idea is that's, kind of frivolous. It's catering to the soft whims of wealth and, not really to be taken seriously. And while the West is trying to pose Antarctica as the utopia, the sort of woke utopia, Russia's like, oh, what a perfect time to move in a bunch of military aircraft and land our most giant plane and start packing people and cargo in, and we'll do it with a sponsorship of a
football team. Yeah. Sports.
Well, they're trying to bring some alpha energy back to Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's just a very interesting development.
Yeah.
There was also I think maybe we'll bring the full article another time, but there was a breakdown and analysis from News Chain Online about how the discovery of the Shackleton boat, the Endurance, which happened during the pandemic there. And, when we reported on the Endurance being found by the robots, it almost kind of started the new wave of obsession with Antarctica for this show. And part of what we noted as the trend is like, what a weird thing for everybody to be so excited about, finding an old boat, who cares? But we with Antarctica and using it for ideological purposes. And newschain.com came out with this article, Why Shackleton Fever is Reigniting Interest in Antarctica. Came out 18 hours ago. So we're not the only ones, man. We just called it about a year and a half early, but newschain.com is just catching up with good old Canary Cry News Talk. That's why you listen to the show, folks. You know what's happening even before they do. And with that, I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be back on Wednesday, the 16th. So we're going to be trying to move into earlier start times, by the way.
Yes.
It's going to be difficult to guarantee that, but just so everybody knows, our intention is to move into earlier start times, because now when the sun sets and we're all in total darkness at 3:30 in the afternoon, it just feels weird that our whole, we don't have much day after the show. Yeah. So we're going to try to get started early. Can't guarantee it, but that's what we're shooting for. And we'll be starting with that on Wednesday. So keep an eye out for your text message alert and your email alert and everything. And hopefully the earlier start time will be more convenient than it is inconvenient. And I want to thank our executive producer, M and Bobby, for supporting this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, M and Bobby.
And of course, to the rest of our producers. But we have some producers who came in with their time supporting the show, and let's thank them. Let's thank them now, starting with our Clippies.
Flippy on those videos. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Emsworth and Faye Leverin, for managing and populating the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. It's very much appreciated. And from everyone here in the Canarium, we thank you for your service. Next up, we have the Time Stampers.
Time stamp. It's hard work. Time stamp.
That's right. The timestamps are a very important part of the back end of this show. You may not notice, you may not know this, but the timestamps that we have producers do live every show go into so much of our back end production and our back end, categorization and everything. And we're so grateful to our timestampers. I would like to thank... Come on.
Jade Bouncerson came in to help out. Yes, and I believe JS. Which one is JS?
JS. Thank you very much. JS and Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps of episode 559 of Canary Cry News Talk. Thank you to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media. Follow us.
That's right, Dame Miss G of the OV in the Deep Rivers, making sure the art gets up on the social media. We appreciate it very much. And while you're at it, folks, head on over to canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetups.
Oh, I think Jackie U was
slowing down.
Jackie U was the timestamp, I think. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's... Okay.
Yeah, Jade Bouncerson also helped.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
Okay. Then go to canarycrymeetups.com. There's meetups going on. Actually, there's not so many meetups going on this month. We had a few at the beginning, but the next one is on December 11th. That is the Silver Dollar City in Missouri meetup. Go check it out. And if you want to put on a meetup in your area, you should do it. Now's a great time to do it. And how fun will it be to meet other Canarians in your area? Just pick a time, pick a place, let us know, and we will tell the world. But if not, see you in Silver Dollar City on December 11th. canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun. See you at the meetup.
You know the drill, folks. Ratings and reviews. I don't know what happened. We had a whirlwind of ratings and reviews come through in October, and then November came around, and it's been like a parched desert, a great white desert of reviews. But just so everybody knows, it's very important. It's very important for us to get ratings and reviews, because that is how we fight back in the algorithm wars. We are constantly fighting in these bloody algorithm wars. But we can do better. We can take ground back with the help of our ratings and reviewers. So please head to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. Most of you are listening there anyways. And looks like we're missing about 100,000 reviews from people who should be leaving them. But you should be like Fuego Stomper from the United States. 5 stars. Cages need to be shaken. There are not many podcasts that give an audience nonpartisan meat to chew. Canary Cry News cuts away at the gristle and the fat to bring out the facts that are so lacking in today's podcast world. Good job, guys. Thank you very much. Good job, Fuego Stomper.
Thank you, Fuego Stomper.
Yeah, let's JNet Loves Jesus from the United States. 5 stars. Worth listening to. So much content, so little time. Worthwhile and educational, but also entertaining. Turn off your TV and tune in. You won't regret it.
Hey, thank you, JNet.
JNet Loves Jesus. There you go. Just a couple of examples, and I would love it to get more examples. So go check it out. You can also leave a rating and a review on, what is it? Audible, I think, allows that. Yes, Audible. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clankonifius for reminding us of the things we need reminding of during the show. And other than that, just share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends' families. Family. But, is sharing it on your social media or texting it to a friend or posting it to a message board. Those are all really, really effective ways to help tell people about the show. But, some people are a little bit more unique. They're kind of weirdos. They do things, they march to their own drum or whatever. And maybe that's you. And if that is you, instead of, doing the normal thing, you could go ahead, get yourself a welder, go ahead, get yourself a bunch of free scrap metal, either from a free scrap metal giveaway extravaganza, or, you know what? Cars have so much extra metal on them, like all these panels and things like that. Not every car needs all their panels, so I'm sure your neighbors won't care if you just go borrow a couple panels off of their Hyundai Elantra or their Nissan Acura or whatever, and go ahead and build a giant metal statue for Canary Cry News Talk. Elon shouldn't be the only one getting their greatest of all time statue. We need the best podcast in the metaverse statue. But instead of, an Elon on a goat, a goat on an Elon head riding a rocket ship, you could do like maybe pick one of the descriptions of some sort of beasts in maybe the Book of Revelation or something, something with a few heads, like some canary wings, something with the tail of.
I don't like this association we have. The canary.
No, but here's the thing, and then all the beasts with all their heads are wearing a bunch of headphones, and in those headphones is Canary Cry News Talk playing, and it's really changing the way they think about how the mainstream media, narrates current events to them and creates some sort of mythology of news narratives that are meant to psychologically manipulate them into buying products through advertisements, things like that. It's really, look, I get it. It's art, okay? It'll have some sort of deeper meaning, and that's the thing. A giant statue I'll tell you what, a giant statue never hurt a podcast. So maybe something to think about, okay? You don't have to spend $600,000, but as soon as we get our giant statue up and going, we can maybe Elon will take an interest. I don't know. I'm just working with what I got here, folks. But in any case, we call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Have a great evening. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you on Wednesday, which is the anniversary of the Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Indubitably.
1977.
Very important to the development of the alien zeitgeist. This and so many more dates can be noted on your calendar. If you get the Canary Cry calendar, go to canarycrysupply.com. Go check it out, folks. It supports the show and gives you the most important calendar on the planet. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage. Get it? Good.
Feed him more.
We're all gonna die.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Give me a break. I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world. We will hunt you down and make you pay. Armageddon's on the way.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. Just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that.
Doesn't work.
I'm constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
I love the Great Reset.
Goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, "Oh, that was fun." Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary Cry Radio.com/support.